Sunday's game with the Vikings broadcast team. Join the conversation on Vikings Fan Line by calling 800-320-5326 using the TalkBack feature on the iHeartRadio app or by sending us a message on the KFAN social channels. Now it's your reaction to all the action. Vikings Fan Line. Here's KFAN's Ron Johnson and Eric Nordquist.
The 2022 Minnesota Vikings season comes to an abrupt end. 31-24 is the final at US Bank Stadium. Super Wild Card weekend. The New York Giants, who were here just a few weeks ago, Christmas Eve, and they watched Greg Joseph walk off on a 61-yard game-winning field goal for the Purple. This time, much less drama at the end, a turnover on fourth down, and they were able to kneel their way to victory. The New York Giants now headed to Philly, a division matchup with the Philadelphia Eagles off the bye, and then the winner of tomorrow night's Monday night game, Cowboys or Bucks, they'll head to San Francisco. I'm Nordo from 9 to noon with Ron Johnson, and it felt like just an absolute landslide that this defense wasn't able to recover from it. No answers on nearly start to finish, and that was the story of the day as the Vikings end their season at home.
Yeah, I mean, the tough thing was third down. We looked at third down in the fourth quarter. They were ranked 6th in the NFL, so they were actually doing pretty well. But early on, it just never came down. They never found a way to transition to how they've been playing down the stretch of these close games and putting it all together in one game today. I mean, you look at third down, 7 for 13. They couldn't stop them. And clearly, Coach Dable, he saw something on film that was like, you know what, I got to get my quarterback moving, because he actually had dedicated runs today. He actually ran power runs like Philly does with Jalen Hurts, and the Vikings had no answer for it. So I don't know what the answer is in the offseason, but you got to set the edge, and if that means going back to a 4-3, that might be the way to go.
This is Minnesota Vikings Fan Line. We'll get to your calls, texts, talkbacks, but first we're going to jump back to US Bank Stadium. Our own Tatum Everett is with Vikings tight end TJ Hawkinson.
Down here in the Vikings locker room alongside TJ Hawkinson, and TJ, despite a great performance today, obviously not the outcome you wanted, what did they do differently this time around?
I mean, I don't know if they did anything differently. I mean, it's just, they played a lot more dime, nickel, quarter, a lot more DBs on the field. They double-digit a lot, and, so guys needed to step up, and, we just weren't able to execute as well as, we would have liked. So.
I can see the raw emotion on you, and I saw it earlier when I first walked in the locker room. This team seems like it means a lot to you. How are you processing this right now? Yeah,
I mean, it's tough, I didn't think this was going to end, especially like this. And so, just to be in this locker room and with this group of guys, it was a special year for me, special group of guys that I was able to come into this locker room halfway through, and they mean the world to me, and so just to know that we're not all going to be in the same locker room next year is a hard feeling. That's the nature of the business, but I love this group of boys, this group of guys, and it's just a stepping stone and where we want to go as a team. So.
Coach O'Connell afterwards in his speech was talking about just how special this team is. What other messages did he give in his post-game speech?
Just that, it's going to leave a bitter taste in our mouth. This isn't how we wanted to end this, and this isn't how, anybody thought this would end. So, it's just attacking this offseason, attacking, these workouts that we're about to, approach on, and set a building block and for this team and for this organization. And it's just a start. He's a first-year head coach, and we were able to win 13 games, but this is a special team. It just didn't show today, and so it's gonna be hard.
You've obviously spent a few seasons in the league. What does your time in Minnesota mean to you?
It's incredible. It's been it truly has been a blessing, from above, just to be able to be in this city, on this team, and in this organization. It's one that this is a season I'll never forget. and this is a team I'll never forget. And then, just to be here in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, I love the city, I love the state, and so it's been incredible my time here, and I hope I'm here for a while.
Thank you, TJ. Appreciate your time. Back up to you guys.
Thank you. Tatum Everett with Vikings tight end TJ Hawkinson. By the way, a couple of nice games, albeit the one that counted, the Vikings didn't win, but 23 receptions, nearly 240 yards, and 2 touchdowns in his 2 matchups in purple against the New York Giants. 800-320-5326, 1-800-320-5326. I see we have full phone lines and also an opportunity via the free iHeartRadio app. Use the talkback feature. Hit that microphone. Give us your best 30 seconds. And also the KFAN text line, 64686. And you know what? That's where I'm going to start, Ron, because if you could imagine, if you could just conjure up what people most want to talk about. Let me see. Donatel should be fired before they leave the stadium. If Ed Donatel makes it past midnight tonight as our DC, that will be the second worst move in KOC's early tenure. Fire Ed, fire Ed, fire Ed. Check down on 4th and 8. There's a couple of common threads here as we wrap up not only this game and our final and our final fan line of the 2022 season, but again, defense, kind of the theme drawing the ire of the purple and
I feel like
gold
everybody's
faithful.
talking about Ed Donatel.
Everyone's talking about him.
Everybody's talking about him.
But it was interesting during the game, Ron, where we saw the Vikings, and Pete Bursich pointed this out on the broadcast several different times, that tonight, the Vikings were using a lot more of a 4-man front defensively.
Yep.
And also over the last several weeks, the Vikings had been playing man coverage a lot more percentage-wise than they had for a large part of the season. So Ed Donatel with this group, we know the personnel, some health issues here and there and everywhere. But in the end, whether it was the heavy zone early on, man coverage late, 5-man fronts, bare fronts, we got Daniil out in coverage a quarter of the time in certain situations. Whatever string we tried to pull defensively, this is not just tonight. This will be the thread throughout the entire 2022 season. I think defensively, we never had an answer. We failed miserably on a regular basis trying to make this personnel effective against our opponents.
Well, I said that to you from I think, 6 weeks ago, that this team has to find a way to make it a hybrid. And I brought up Carter Coughlin, New York Giant, who did that with the Gophers. When Rossi took over, he turned that 3-4 defense that they were running. I can't remember who the defensive coordinator was for the Gophers, but he got fired. Joe Rossi takes over. He switches that 3-4 to a hybrid 4-3, which it looked like Ed Donatel tried to do it today, but it was too little too late. That was something that should have happened midway through the season when they realized that 3-4 wasn't working. And not to say it wasn't working as far as effectiveness, because he tried to say it was the players and all. I can call whatever I want, but if players don't do it, then it's not going to work. But pressure. There was no consistent pressure on the quarterback. When you think about setting an edge on a running quarterback, you need 2 defensive ends on the outside to keep them in the pocket. They didn't do that. Literally, it was times where Daniel Jones was just running and had Dalvin Tomlinson, who cannot keep up with Daniel Jones, chasing him to the sideline 4 and 5 different times, versus put in an extra DB in the game, put 2 defensive ends in the game, put 1 D lineman, switch it up. And so now you got a guy who's faster, whether it's, and again, I know we have injury. Cameron Dantzler wasn't able to play, but it would have been nice to see Cameron Dantzler become the spy, or Josh Metellus. Use somebody who can run around with some speed. Just bring Josh Metellus and say, hey, you follow the quarterback. That's all your job is to do. Let the safeties play. The Giants did it. They went nickel. They went dime. Why not do that? If the quarterback is hurting you, what do you need to do? You need to go to a dime or nickel look and then have Metellus just spy Daniel Jones. Treat him like a big linebacker for the rest of the game. Yeah,
Daniel Jones, by the way, your leading rusher of the 30 attempts all night, 17 carries from the quarterback, 78 yards, as part of 142 yards allowed on the ground for the Vikings. Meatsauce Paul Lambert, Power Trip Morning Show, is going to lift off at 5:30 a.m. tomorrow and put a eulogy on this season. We did the pre to the pre today for 90 minutes. We were pumped up about it, and I anticipated more scoring. I thought we'd be on the right side of that final score line, but your final thoughts before you head home.
I don't know, man. It's just no, that's all right, Jared. No one. That's okay. Anyway, that's just the way that it goes, right? That's my version of throwing for 3 yards on 4th and 8. I just think that, you watch this team and you watch them and everything that they did. The win at Buffalo was one of the coolest football/sports moments I think, of my life. It was sweet. I mean, then you watch the comeback here against the Colts. This season was entertaining, and that's what this is at the end of the day. It's entertainment. It was fun to watch. It was they had a lot of cool things happen to them. They went 13-4 with a rookie head coach. If they'd gone 4-13, a lot of people would be sitting here right now going, well, they had a rookie head coach. We get a high draft pick, but here we are. They go 13-4 with a rookie head coach, and they lose to a team who's awful. The Giants are bad. Well, it just so happens the Vikings defense is worse, and that sucked. That was just hideous. I mean, John Kreisel would have run for 250 yards against this defense, but hey, here we are. They get the 23rd overall pick in the draft. Yes, we're looking forward to that, and we don't have to watch them give up 700-plus yards to the 49ers. But as you said, Nordo, as we were stomping around here after that 4th and 8 play that ended the game, a home playoff win would have been great. How do you not beat that team? That team's not that good. They just exposed everything they saw week 16 they came out here and did. It just sucks, man. Like, it looks like we're going to be the only home team that's going to lose a playoff game. Classic Vikings. I mean, if we hadn't gotten, Carlos Correa this year or this week, it would have been hideous. But hey, it is what it is. They're going to move forward. They got a sweet head coach. They got the right guy. But they got a lot to do on defense. They got to, as Ron was saying, maybe they switch things up. They made no adjustments. They just got picked apart every time they needed to stop. And I'll finish on this. The Giants punted twice. Twice. That's hideous. It's over. The season's over. Goodbye.
Yeah, I don't believe. Thank you, Sauce. Power Trip Morning Show, weekdays 5:30 to 9. Looking forward to that. And we were going to go to break, but first, let's check out what the quarterback has to say. Kirk Cousins addressing the media at the podium right now.
Kirk, in this moment, as disappointed you are, do you allow yourself a minute to reflect on what this team did this year, 13 wins, and kind of a lot of the successes that you guys had? Is that too difficult right now?
Yeah, not right now. Just focus on the game, and it'll be time for that later.
What do you do tonight? Do you just go over the plays in your mind? Do you put it out of your mind? What do you do?
Yeah, you don't sleep. Go over the plays in your mind over and over and over and over. Yep.
Did you think this was going to be a shootout type of game that had materialized?
You never know. Every game's different. You just go playing one play at a time, and you never really know what the next play is going to bring.
Despite it all, it was still another one-score game. Right? You guys were still in it with just under 2 to go. What was the thought process, and what were you guys saying? Like we've been in the huddle, we've been here before?
There was always belief, at halftime, or even when we were down 17-7 and then clawed our way back. I think there was always belief, and I think that's why it hurts, because you expect to find a way. Especially the way this team has gone all year, expect to find a way.
Kirk, on the third down that Justin takes the pass and throws back to you there, did you guys not get the look you were looking for?
Yeah, I didn't get the look. we wanted.
Since I'm not sure when we'll next talk to you, just moving forward, do you want to sign another extension? Is this where you want to be long-term, Vikings?
I really have a hard time focusing on beyond right now. But it's an easy question to answer in the sense that I love being a Minnesota Viking, and it's a privilege to play here, and it's a privilege to play with that group, these coaches, and so that's the way it'll always be for me. But those are harder to get beyond just right now in the playoff game right now.
A lot of guys in the locker room are saying because of the bond and all the circumstances that you guys have been through, the crazy games, the last-minute wins, that it's maybe the tightest group they've ever been a part of. So, like Jordan Hicks, there's some emotion in the locker room.
Yeah, it hurts. I'm probably missing one, but this is probably the toughest loss I've had in my career. So it hurts.
Why is that?
I mean, all the obvious reasons.
Kirk, when they're paying as much attention to Justin as they are, and you guys saw so much of that towards the end of the season, what's the counter to that when Justin's going to get that much attention, probably for the next stretch of his career?
Yeah, it's Adam, KJ, TJ, Dalvin, Alex. Just getting those guys opportunities to impact the game, and that's important.
Kirk, the way that TJ did come through for you guys, is that something to build on?
Yes.
forward and reliability.
Yes, he's a really good football player. In this offense, in this system, the Y, the tight end, will always, especially someone with TJ's ability, will always have a big role. And we're grateful to have a guy who's that capable. And, we're going to give him a lot of opportunities.
Kirk, you said toughest loss of your career. Does that kind of indicate you feel this maybe was your best chance to make a run? Is that part of it?
13 wins is really, haven't really sniffed that before. So, and then just the fact that the group, the Garretts and the Alexes that are free agents that, no guarantee they're going to be back. I think it's hard to walk off the field and, you want them all back. You just don't know, and I think that unknown is always tough. Thank you. And thank you for your...
That's quarterback Kirk Cousins addressing the media. I don't know if they got to it earlier in that presser as we jumped in, but I'm sure we will. 800-320-5326, the phone number, and what I'm referring to is that final fourth down play. The biggest note in that presser that we did here, though, biggest loss or toughest loss in Kirk Cousins' career. And he loves being a Viking. Ron Johnson's here. I'm Nordo. All of you on hold, I appreciate your patience during this first segment with the interview and the press conference. But Terry, Keith, Dylan, Grant, Mark, Andrew, we're going to get to your phone calls. We got the 64686 text number where you can text in any of your big thoughts, big opinions, vulgarities. I'll try to sift through them the best that I can. The talk back on the free iHeartRadio app and play too. It's Vikings Fan Line. Vikings lose 31-24, and their season is over. This is Vikings Fan Line, and it is not over. This is Minnesota Vikings football.
At Evans, we know that defense and big stops wins you championships. But when it comes to logistics, moving forward is key. Ben Lieber here for my guys at Evans. If logistics were football, Evans would be an explosive offense, dropping dimes and hitting the gritty. Make Evans your favorite logistics team today. Evans will be your signal caller you can jump on their backs and ride to victory. Get ahead of the competition right now and have a great experience while you're at it. Visit evanstrans.com. Again, evanstrans.com.
Nothing beats being in the stands for live Minnesota Vikings football. From those nail-biting passes to pivotal plays to the game-winning touchdowns. You can be there for all the action this season. As the official ticket marketplace of the NFL, Ticketmaster has a wide selection of seats so you never miss a game. Score tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Minnesota Vikings. Get your tickets today. That's Ticketmaster.com/Minnesota Vikings.
Hey, Vikings fans, you could win a Victor's Ride or a prize pack from Pepsi. Make sure to grab the commemorative Pepsi Vikings Cup when you're cheering on the team at US Bank Stadium. Download the Vikings app, then simply scan your Vikings Cup or select augmented reality in the Vikings app to unlock Vikings photo filters. Share your photo or video using hashtag VikingsGameFace for your chance to win. No purchase necessary. Visit Vikings.com/VikingsGameFace for official rules and details. Sweepstakes ends February 13th, 2023.
Game day starts with great coffee. The new and improved Caribou Coffee app makes it easy to get your drink when, where, and how you want it. Order ahead and your drink will be waiting at your favorite location. Caribou's hot and cold drinks are made with real ingredients for craveable quality you won't find anywhere else. Start your new year off right and try the new Oat Milk Cold Foam, exclusively at Caribou Coffee. Clouds of fluffy cold foam add a pillowy softness to your favorite drink. Caribou Coffee is proud to be the official hometown coffee of the Minnesota Vikings.
The Vikings postgame conversation continues tomorrow on my show. It's Paul Allen, weekdays 9 to noon on FM 100.3 KFAN.
First and goal from the 2, game tied at 24, fourth quarter, middle of the fourth quarter, handoff Barkley up the middle, encountered by a Viking, and he stopped, but then he lunges and plows his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Saquon Barkley. He has 2 touchdowns this game. He has 12 on the season. And the New York Giants have taken a 30-24 lead with 7:47 to go in the contest.
Hey guys, tough way to end the season. I guess we are who they said we were. We can all blame Donatel and his schemes and his terrible coverage, but it's clear that we are very, very slow and old on the back end. Harry the Hitman, sorry man, your days are done. Kendricks, sorry man, your days are done as well. Peace out, see you next year.
Welcome back. It's Vikings Fan Line. You heard there a talkback from the free iHeartRadio app, and that's what this fan line's all about. is looking at a defense ranked among the worst statistically in just about any category that you so pleased to look at. And looking at a secondary, looking at some veterans that throughout the 2022 season just looked different. Did they get old and athletic overnight? Is it scheme? These conversations are what we'll have, and I'm sure what the Vikings are having internally or will eventually at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center. I'm Eric Nordquist. The phone number, you can call 800-320-5326. The text line, text us anything you'd like, 64686, the Bradshaw and Bryant text line. Ron Johnson's with me, and I promise, we're going to get to your calls. But Tatum Everett doing some work down in the Vikings locker room, getting some perspective from some players, and here she is with Vikings corner Patrick Peterson.
Thanks, guys. Back down here in the Vikings locker room alongside Patrick Peterson. And Patrick, obviously not the outcome you guys wanted. How do you begin to process this?
It's very tough right now. Like you said, not the outcome that we wanted. Just in totality, just thinking about the game, just didn't play well enough to win. So didn't get the stops that we needed. On defense, when we pride ourselves off turnovers, wasn't able to get the ball off those guys today. But credit to those guys. They had a good game plan. But it sucks.
Yeah, and these kind of like coin flip games that I feel like you guys have been accustomed to, how is it that when you get down into the late end of the game, it's how you're not able to pull things off? Like your mindset in there, like how does it change? Does it become more intense?
No, not really. I feel like we've been in a bunch of situations like that throughout the year, and we was able to come out on top in a bunch of them. But no, I think for us as a team, we're always calm, cool, and collective in those moments. So, no, not really tense. Did
they present anything different today that maybe they hadn't in games past? Speaking about 2 weeks ago, and then obviously on film.
It's tough to really, think about it right now. But I will say they came out and really specialized in 21 pony, which having two running backs on the field at the same time, creating 11 personnel. I could say that was probably one of the biggest difference. But as far as the routes and everything, concepts pretty much was the same.
This team, Coach O'Connell afterwards called special.
Yeah.
How would you describe this season for you on a personal level?
Very special, man. I had high expectations, not only for myself, but for, my teammates, this team, this organization. And we just came up short here tonight. I feel like we had an opportunity to achieve, some of the goals that we set out for ourselves. Like I said, it just fell short here in the super wild card weekend. Like I said, it just sucks, man, because, now, we're not able to, game plan and see each other anymore, because that's what made this team so special. Guys just really enjoyed being around one another, and that's always the sad part. When the season is over, you're gonna miss those friendships. Coming to work each and every day, grinding with each other each and every day.
This may be a little difficult to answer at this point in time, but you've been around the game for so long. How does this team compare to moving forward in the future? The talent on this team, the coaching staff, et cetera?
Yeah, the talent's there. Coaching staff is there. We just have to, continue finding a way to be at our best when it's required. That's kind of like Coach KO's slogan. And guys, really lean in hard on that. So we just have to continue to find ways, to win those close ball games, keeping the pressure on teams, starting out fast, just finding a way to put a complete game together. And that was the scary thing about this year. We felt that we haven't played our best game, in 18 games that we was, scheduled to play. So the sky's the limit.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Back up to you guys.
Thank you. That's cornerback Patrick Peterson with Tatum Everett. Let's jump to the fans here. Let's see what the Rubes have to say. Vikings fan line 800-320-5326, 1-800-320-5326. We're going to start with Keith in St. Cloud. Keith, welcome to Vikings fan line.
Hey, thank you, Nordo. I got a question for Ron Johnson specifically. I got to say, first of all, great season so far, right? Not so far, it's over. But But even Mark Rosen really wraps up nicely if everyone was listening. And my question really focuses on one play, and it's horrible to say this, but that 4th and 8, and the drop down for a 3-yard pass. I just don't get it. I didn't see the all 22. I didn't see who was open. I didn't see the routes. Just as a Vikings fan, all of a sudden I have to think of the same thing. Like, what the heck was happening? And I know, Ron, if you have any insight as a former NFL player, or if you guys have seen the replay, I haven't seen much. I've been on hold for what seems like an hour now, right? But no, just any feedback is great. And again, hey, Vikings fan for life. I'm obviously going to be here next year, rooting them on. But hey, any feedback, anything would be great. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Keith. Your thoughts on that final play there?
Yeah, so they were in bunch left with tight, nasty splits. Adam Thielen had to go. KJ Osborne, they ran a crosser. So Adam went first. KJ came under. So that's the first initial thought. If KJ's guy rubs wrong, I'm over the top. I got KJ Osborne. Well, then you also have Justin Jefferson on a deep corner route, but there's 3 guys. There's 2 guarding Justin Jefferson, and there's a high safety. So you really can't go to JJ unless you're praying for another 4th and 18 Buffalo Bills moment. The key to this play, and he didn't have time. So 97 gets in there so quick, Kirk can't really step on that 5th step. So that's why he kind of said, crap, I can't get this ball out of my hands fast enough. Who's my guy? It is T.J. Hockenson, but this is where I think Kevin O'Connell, because he said in his press, he said, I haven't watched it, but, he explained. We had J.J. on the high corner. We had T.J. on the high corner, KJ on the deep over. Justin.
I gotcha.
Justin on the corner.
We know
too many J's.
Trust me, the Vikings fans know exactly where TJ was on this play, and none of them are happy about it.
JJ on the corner, KJ on the over, TJ.
There we go.
And then AJ on the go. So TJ should have run an 8-yard route, period. He shouldn't have. He kind of was like a hesitate, and now I'm the release guy. You don't need a hesitate release guy on this play. It's 4th down. There's no hesitate and release. And the minute you know it's man, like the guy covering him, you just got to go run an 8-yard route. Like, just go run an out route. Yeah, because Justin is clearing out. I would have put him on either one, the route that he won early on, which was the fake out and then back around. That's the perfect call there because 2 guys are gone with JJ. That guy would have been on that play too because he's thinking the same thing. One, he wants to run an out-breaking route because, in his mind, he's like, oh, they only have so many, this is the end of the game. The DB's not going to think he's going to run back an in-breaking route. So I personally would have went right back to that same play he killed the guy on earlier, which is an out, and then basically he, I don't know what you call it, an out and bend around or however you want to call it, but he should have run that play.
Does Kirk have enough time in that moment to realize that TJ's short? Because as I'm watching, I haven't even seen the replay yet. I'm thinking, Kirk, why the hell did you throw that there? That's what I'm thinking in that moment.
He had no time, and unfortunately, I didn't even look and see who had 97, but it looks like I'm guessing.
Well, no,
he went around. Well, he was lined up over the center, but then looped towards Ezra Cleveland. Center has nobody. Garrett Bradbury and him both should have taken him. Like, they both should have had 97 taken care of in that play. So, again, it is what it is. He had no time to throw. You can't blame that on Kirk. But I thought T.J. Hockenson should have had an 8-yard route or some type of route as a mainstay, knowing at that moment they're going to triple cover Jefferson. They're going to at least double Justin. They're not going to let you beat. They're not going to let Justin beat you at the end of this game. So,
Grant from Falcon Heights. Let's talk to Grant. Grant, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, nice show as always. I just had 2 points. I don't know if Kirk Cousins is going to be right for this team. You get, you're on 3rd down, 4 or 3rd and 8. He always throws it short of the 1st down marker, and then, you get tackled. And then you got to punt the ball. It seems like almost, always the same case. And then another thing, can I ask you a question? How many times did we throw it to Justin Jefferson and Thielen in the second half of this game? Come on. It's a playoff game, for crying out loud. I know O'Donnell's done great for the first year of the head coach, but I just think they should have. I don't know. I just don't think Cousins is doing it this year. Granted, the offensive line is not there, but he's not a scrambler, and I think the new trend is a scrambling quarterback if we're going to make it. So, just your thoughts on that, and I'll leave be and go Vikes next year.
Thanks for the call. Kirk Cousins, 31 of 39, 273 and 2, didn't throw any picks, avoided sacks. Despite an onslaught of pressure over the course. Dexter Lawrence, you keep mentioning 97. He was a force as always. You kind of benefit when Azeez Ojulari leaves with the quad. Thibodeau, for the most part, I didn't find him being, I don't want to say he wasn't impactful, but in the end, Kirk stayed upright, 112 rating. But the question in there, the A topic for me is Justin Jefferson. And the focus over the course of the entire year, is this offense really thriving or not thriving based upon when 18 is or is not on top of things statistically. And I think his last reception came with about 3 minutes left in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and again, without looking at the replay, was that fourth down option where you mentioned he was doubled and there was probably a guy hiding, lurking somewhere on him as well.
Yeah, there was a high safety.
But in the end, it just over the course of those last couple of drives was there a tendency of Kirk to just find what was immediately working, some of those 50-50 balls, and giving Justin a chance that we've seen so much success with this year? Those kind of went away. Was there anything you saw that helped the Giants mitigate Justin Jefferson's impact and really force Kirk in other directions?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Football, from an offensive defensive coordinator standpoint, is chess. And so Kevin O'Connell used Justin Jefferson as a motion guy. If you remember, he motioned him all the way across the field, threw the quick out route behind where Justin came from to T.J. Hockenson. Why? Because as Justin's motioning, even us, I think we all looked over to see what's going to happen to Justin Jefferson when he motions. Kirk comes right back really quick. I mean, runs full speed towards T.J. Hockenson and hits him for an open pass. So it's chess, and he was using Justin in those moments, but also trying not to get caught up in they're going to just double Justin. So how can I find other guys? How can I help Kirk find other guys? And to the caller's point, when you look at targets, in the first half, Justin had 6. And by the end of the game, he had 9. So there was only 3 targets to him in the second half. That's way too low. You look at Adam Thielen, 1 target in the first half. He finished with 4. So, again, 3 to him. The one that jumped was T.J. Hockenson. He finished with 11 targets. Yeah. So eventually Kevin O'Connell realized, you know what? They're letting T.J. Hockenson beat them. I even look at, like, the Irv Smith drop. He catches that ball, it probably extends that drive, and the Giants don't have a chance to score there. So, it the butterfly effect, it so much could have changed that game. That was a huge play and drive that changed the game, in my opinion, early on, that they kind of gave the Giants like, oh, okay, we can do this. We can beat this team.
How about that 3rd and 1 trick play bit?
Yeah, again, that's being too cute. Like, if you have Dalvin Cook, you have C.J. Ham, you have Johnny Munt, you got extra tackle in Blake Brandel, you got Oli Udoh. You can, just bring your bigs in. You could put freaking Dalvin Tomlinson, if you want, over in the backfield. Just push Kirk forward for 3rd and 1. Because you got 2 chances at it now. You got 2 chances. You try to get one with Kirk. He doesn't get it. Do it again. Or run with Dalvin. Do it again. Or hand it off to C.J. Ham.
I think that was just a moment to protect your defense, because you had just given up that it was 26 or 28-yard touchdown to Saquon, and it's 3rd and 1. And let's do what works. Let's protect our defense and keep in versus trying to stretch in our own territory in that moment as well. And I heard Kirk during the presser saying he didn't get the look that he wanted. So that messes the whole thing up too. It's kind of we'd be celebrating it if it worked and we won the game, but we lost the game and it didn't work. So now we're nitpicking.
True.
To hell and back. But
I still think it's too cute, though. Even if it had worked, I just feel like, why put Kirk out there? Like, don't sacrifice that, because that I feel like that's one of those jump pass situations. When the jump pass came up, we talked about that. Why get cute with the jump pass? Like, that's literally one of those things where, I don't know, for those Deadpool fans out there who remember when Ryan Reynolds can go back in the past and change things, and he shot himself in the head when he tried to read the script for Green Lantern. Like, don't do it. Like, I feel like Ryan Reynolds should come back, grab Kevin O'Connell and be like, remember the Lions game? Don't do this play. Just run the ball. And we didn't have it. Ryan Reynolds is somewhere with Blake Lively, and he could not save Kevin O'Connell from himself in that moment.
Well, speaking of Deadpools, if you're out there and you had the purple in your 2022 NFL playoffs Deadpool, unfortunately,
they are dead.
For us, but maybe fortunately for you, I guess you're getting paid off. 31-24 is the final. We got full phone lines. I got text to get to. 64686 is the text number. And you can call in 800-320-5326 is the phone number. Talkbacks appreciated and accepted via the free iHeartRadio app as well. Ron Johnson is here. I'm Nordo from 9 to noon. Sad montage coming in the morning. Not excited about it. But 31-24, the final here at U.S. Bank Stadium. Members of the Giants finding their way out of the building to probably go and celebrate more as they look ahead to the Philadelphia Eagles next weekend in the divisional round. It's Vikings Fan Line. This is Minnesota Vikings football.
Have you seen Honda lately? There's been big changes to their award-winning all-star SUV lineup. Honda SUVs are bigger, bolder, and more beautiful than ever, including the next generation HR-V, the all-new Honda CR-V, and the totally redesigned Honda Pilot, the biggest, most powerful Honda SUV ever. So for the freshest SUVs on the road, see your Greater Twin Cities Honda dealer today. Based on the sales-weighted average age of SUV lineups as measured by the time since last major model change or introduction.
Metro Transit and the Minnesota Vikings make game days stress-free. Join fellow fans and take Metro Transit to the Vikings playoff game. Metro Blue and Green Lines and multiple bus routes carry you the final yard, straight to the gates of U.S. Bank Stadium, so there's no need to worry about parking or downtown traffic. Make your round trip easy with a 6-hour pass, no standing in line for a ticket after the game. Find your game plan at metrotransit.org/Vikings.
If you bleed purple, you're not alone. At North Memorial Health, that's our specialty. In fact, we treat Vikings fans all season long by providing leading primary care, specialty and urgent care for both in-person and virtual visits. At North Memorial Health, we're a proud partner of the Minnesota Vikings. That means we've got your families back during football season, off-season, and every season in between. Schedule an appointment today at northmemorial.com/Vikings.
Splash, splash, splash. Apply a little splash. When your windshield's getting dirty, just apply a little splash. When your windshield's full of grime, bugs, dirt, and snow, just use a little splash and be safe on the road. Splash, splash, splash. Apply a little splash. When your windshield's getting dirty, just apply a little splash. See safely on the road when you apply a little splash.
Listen tomorrow as our know-it-alls tell you what the Vikings should have done better today. The Power Trip, PA, Common, and Barrero are all back and live tomorrow. Now back to Vikings football on KFAN.
3rd and 1 from their own 34. Jefferson motions to the backfield. Now he's going to throw all the way across to the other side of the field to Cousins, and the play didn't work. The Giants swarm Kirk at the 32-yard line and stop him right there. 4th and 8 from the Viking 48. If they don't get a first down, the New York Giants win the game. Cousins takes the snap. Thibodeau blitzes. Kirk throws right. Caught Hawkinson shy of the first down, and he stopped at the Giants 49. And the New York Giants are heading to Philadelphia for the divisional round of the postseason, having beaten the Minnesota Vikings 31-24.
I love it and I hate it simultaneously. Those two highlights played by Brandon Molesky, Master Control Supervisor, 10B, Vikings Radio Network. And I'm thinking just bumper to bumper, drive time, great moments in a kick-ass offense. He can use those two highlights and just wear them the bleep out. 31-24, the final. This is Vikings Fan Line. Ron Johnson's here. I'm Nordo from 9 to noon. And we're still here at U.S. Bank Stadium. The stadium staff feverishly cleaning out the seats here at U.S. Bank Stadium, not for another playoff game, but for some sort of live music event, I'm sure. Let's do this. I got a great text. We're going to get to the phone lines here on Vikings Fan Line, but first we should pause for station identification. This is Minnesota Vikings football.
This is Minnesota's sports station, FM 100.3, KFXN, Minneapolis, St. Paul. The Fan. The sports leader.
Welcome back, Vikings Fan Line, to the text line, KFAN text line. Bradshaw and Bryant brings it to you. 64686 is the number. Best thing KFAN did for me this year was not let me win tickets to tonight's game. The pain of watching that loss in person would have been so much worse. Thanks for saving my husband and I the further heartache. That's Chelsea from St. Paul. You're welcome, Chelsea. Yeah, anytime. No problem. Thanks for listening when you choose to do so. 800-320-5326 is the number. Dylan from Sartell. Dylan, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Thanks, Nate. Hey, Ron. Yeah, just tough loss, but what do you do? It's Viking season. I hope it's all year, but, I mean, with Donatel, it was very hard to watch. I mean, the defense, it just seems like every week it was the same defense, giving up 400 yards, giving up so many points, and it's just, what do you do? I mean, in my opinion, I would choose Mike Zimmer over Ed Donatel. I mean, that's the way to go. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say. They got to get rid of Ed Donatel and get someone younger or someone better, because it's just Ed Donatel does not have it in him anymore. I mean, I know he was great with Denver and Green Bay, but coming here, like, it was a bad time. So I just want to know what your thoughts are. And, yeah, hopefully we'll see you next season. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Dylan. We spent so much time the first couple of segments of Fan Line talking about Kirk in a singular play, albeit, a big one, 4th and 8, I get it.
Yep.
But the story really in large part tonight for the Vikings, and the story throughout the season, is one in which the Minnesota Vikings, I'm scrambling to find it now, they give up 430 yards, 31, excuse me. I don't want to shortchange the Giants. 431 yards of offense to the Giants tonight, and a defense that at one point was ranked dead last. I think they were battling with the Motor City Kitties for supremacy of having the worst defense in the NFL. It bit them a few occasions this year, and it bit them tonight.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people said it all season, and honestly, it's one of those things that you overlook. The wins allowed you to overlook the defense. And I think if this team had lost, like you look at the Bears, 1-7 in one-score games. They had 8 one-score games. They finished 1-7 in those one-score games, where the Vikings finished 11-0. If somehow they were 5-5, and then one of those one-score games came down to the Buffalo Bills when they won that, when they're 6-5 in one-score games, does the Buffalo Bills negate that? And all of a sudden, you look at that puts them at 9 losses. No, they're not in the playoffs. Right. 9 losses, they're not in the playoffs. So then maybe Ed Donatel does get fired during the season. Maybe there is a change, and maybe he's still on the staff as an executive, but then Mike Pettin makes the calls. Winning changes everything. And so the fact that they were winning, I think, and Eric Kendrick said it when they asked him, hey, how is it with your team being a 31-ranked defense, and what are you going to do? He said, well, our offense can go toe-to-toe with anybody, which is true. But I think Kevin O'Connell is going to have to look at that, whether it is a scheme change. And with the things I heard about Ed Donatel from other players that play for him, is that he loves to have multiple sets, multiple guys coming in and out. They didn't have the bodies.
Right.
Like, they didn't have the bodies and the personnel to do what he wants to do. So we can't look at one season and just say, hey, you know what? You suck. You got to go. Let's see what this offseason looks like, because these guys will be able to use the players they know throughout the NFL who are going to be free agents this year that might want to come be a Minnesota Viking after they see the offense that they put together. Now, who can they go out and get defensively this offseason? And I think that'll be the key.
Yeah, and getting back to that, because it is, I mean, just the KFAN text line, Bradshaw and Bryant getting paid with all sorts of fire Ed Donatel-related texts, certainly on the phone lines as well. But as I kind of explained to you, and I've kind of talked about it several times throughout the season, is I don't know who to be mad at.
Right.
I'm annoyed by this awful defense. But is it just as easy as getting rid of Donatel? As I mentioned at the beginning, you saw 4-man fronts tonight. We've seen more man coverage. Ed Donatel blitzed so few times over the course of the season that after increasing the percentage of blitzing, they still only did it about 18% over the course of the entire year. They have tried man. They have tried zone. They have switched so many things up to the point where they're giving guys like Asamoah and other players reps and opportunities.
Correct.
Thinking maybe, hey, we need some fresher legs out there.
Yeah.
We have a personnel issue. We had a depth issue the last 2 years with this defense. There is still a depth issue on this team. And so is it as easy as just firing the defensive coordinator and saying, hey, some of these guys a year from now, if we just go back to a 4-3, it's better? And I just have a hard time seeing it that simply.
I agree. I don't know if it is that simple. I mean, you look at all the teams in the NFL that run a 3-4 and how they find success in it. So what is the difference in those teams? It's the personnel. And so if you come in and you have a 4-3 team, it's like you all of a sudden become the owner of a pizza joint and you go on the refrigerator and there's no pepperoni. Well, what do you do? Like it's your pizza place. You can put cheese and sauce and crust, but then you don't have pepperoni. You don't have a staple to what your main ingredient is of this defense. Like, so if that's the goal, now what do you do this offseason? You go and look for linebackers who can play there, where maybe Daniil kicks down and becomes Aaron Donald and plays a true 3 technique, which I think he could. Like, I think he's strong enough, he's fast enough, he's quick enough to play a true 3, and then you move maybe Dalvin Tomlinson and what's his name, Harrison Phillips over, and now they're playing more of kind of a nose and a D tackle role. But you let Daniil be a 3, which means just create havoc. And now you go find you another outside linebacker to partner with Zadarius Smith, who you know because again, like I said, you got Mike Pettin. You got all these coaches on the staff, Minuski. You got all these coaches that know players in the league that play the positions they want. And then let's not forget the last 2 NFL drafts have not done much for the Minnesota Vikings. You know what I mean? As far as, like, complete depth. You know, you look at the what was the last draft class everybody just got cut with the quarterback who left, number 11. I forget his name, for Texas A&M.
Oh, we're all Mondiacs. Kellen Mond.
Kellen Mond. Look at that draft class. Like, I think that entire group is pretty much gone. Yeah. So when you think about that, like, the cupboard is bare. Like, 13-4 with that cupboard, clearly Kirk Cousins is a man. Clearly Kevin O'Connell has a plan with this offense. Definitely Justin Jefferson is a dog. Like, he's a 100% dog. Like, there's not a DB in this, like, world that can cover that man one-on-one. And so when you think about that and all the things, and then TJ Hawkinson, got to figure out the money with him. But they have the pieces. They're just missing some. They're like, on that defense, again, it's a pizza without pepperoni. It's fine. But do you want it all the time? No, I'm good. I need the pepperoni. And so that's what I think if you don't get rid of Ed Donatel and you do like the scheme, because these coaches are having these conversations and you know that behind the scenes. So when they're having these conversations, it's going to go back to personnel. Ed Donatel would have never said, like, I'm calling stuff and sometimes it's the execution if he really didn't mean it. Like, right. You don't throw your players under the bus unless you really mean it. And so there probably is some execution because the Giants players were coming wide open. There was one too many guys pointing like, hey, is this your guy? Nope, that's your guy. And the Giants kept motioning and shifting, putting the DBs out of place. I asked Ben Lieber that. He said, every time they shift, we have to redo the front. We got to redo the blitz. We got to redo the pressure, the coverage. The Giants got him.
And you saw a couple of moments. I saw one play, and it was one of Daniel Jones's. Well, it may have been even the touchdown run to Saquon, where Kendricks looked completely out of sorts pre-snap.
Yep.
He taps one of the big guys' butts. They both moved to the left.
Yep.
Left.
The front was wrong.
They ran to their left.
Yep.
And it's a touchdown.
They moved out the way. They shift. So yeah, and basically
problems,
close it right, close it left is what if you have a mic on the field and you ever hear a linebacker say close it right or close it left, he puts his hand up. He's telling the front which side is the strong side. So whatever Kendricks did, something threw him off that he changed it. You know, he might call it one way and they tried to change it. He guessed wrong. And that's why it's like chess. He guessed wrong. He moved him left. They ran left. I mean, well, you know, to his left, and then they ran to his right.
Yeah.
So it's Brian Daboll playing chess, and you know what? He got him. He got him today in a lot of those situations, and all you do is move on.
Vikings fan line, 800-320-5326. Let's check in John from New Jersey. John, welcome to Vikings fan line.
Hey guys, how you doing? First time caller.
Hey.
I'm 54, man. I've been rooting for the Vikings for 47 years. Very good season. Maybe the best thing, you know, with that defense, they would have gotten killed next week in San Francisco. But I didn't like that. I think they got outcoached. I thought offensively, I didn't like that trick play to Cousins. He's going to give it to Jefferson, let him try to fake it downfield for a throw, pull it down, try to get the first down. A couple of the screens. The field goal they scored, they were on a 40 doing the screen. Second to last possession, they were doing these screens that weren't working. Of course, the fourth, I thought Kirk played a good game, but they got to give Moneyball. You remember baseball movie Moneyball?
Yes. Great movie.
Yeah, they got to go Moneyball. Yeah, with this team, they got to get rid of some salaries on the offense as well as defense. You might have to make moves. You might have to let Cook go and keep Madison. Stuff like that. And they got to get rid of the defense coordinator because he makes no adjustments. And you can't go on that. You go get some players, draft better, but Moneyball it and shred the salaries and get the defensive players. We can't go back with him. and their faith in them. And offensively, I think they should be more aggressive. I want to see 4 receiver sets out there being aggressive. Even though they're very good offense, it could be better. So it hurts, but I think if they play a money ball here, I think they could turn this around. They have to.
I appreciate it, John. Moving on, in Moneyball, the financial situation with this team, with some guys making some fat cash, whether that's Adam Thielen, it's I believe Danielle Hunter. I don't know what that contract status. There may have been an option. I don't have it in front of me at the moment. Harrison Smith, we're looking at like $20 million. Some fat cash for the Zadarius Smiths of the world is going to kick in. So, yes, the finances need to be, might you say, looked at and tweaked. That's why we got Rob Brzezinski.
Yep.
Let's do Blake from Waconia. Blake, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, how's it going? I just got to say, man, these Vikings, their defense, I think, man, they made Daniel Jones look like Tom Brady. Do we have to fire Ed Donatel? I mean, they punted 2 times. Do we need more free agents? Do we need to make a trade? I don't know what to do, man. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I appreciate it, Blake. We don't have all the answers right now.
Off-season.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we got some time.
We got
to
the
think about
off-season.
it. One thing that popped in my head when John was talking, throughout the winning streak and throughout this season, we kept talking about winning and learning.
Mm-hmm.
And offensively, bit in some ways where it was such a boom or bust type of thing. Again, the focal point was Justin Jefferson, and everything kind of worked through and around that, needing some TJ Hawkinson type numbers like we got tonight at times.
Yep.
Dalvin, the screen game that had really been coming along over the last month, didn't work at all. Giants sniffed it out. Great coaching on that, on their end there.
Yep.
But in terms of if you're Kevin O'Connell and you are looking at this offense, the lack of balance and the inability to run a ball through with any consistency over the course of this entire season, and we got there. 61 yards on the ground with a per play defense that is 31st in the NFL against the run, and it's just The balance of this offense, if we were winning and learning, now we're losing and learning. The head coach just, as much as he's got to figure out on that defensive plate, I think even offensively, just the balance or the lack of it with this offense. At one point, 3rd or 4th in the league in negative plays on offense.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is not just a fire the coordinator and get better type of thing. This
Right.
is certainly going to be a first year head coach having to take some tough looks at his side of the ball too.
I mean, if you think about it, the Giants last year were hot garbage. The entire NFC East was hot garbage. They are now the best division, or were considered the best division in football. You got
Changed
the Eagles,
quickly.
You got the Cowboys. You got the Giants. You even had the Washington Commanders almost make the playoffs. And so when you look, London Fletcher even tweeted it out. He's like, man, that should be us beating up the Vikings today. And so when you look at the scope of what the Giants did, let's just stick with that team. One, they added a pass rusher. They got some cornerbacks. They got rid of a guy in Bradbury who went to the Eagles. Now, I don't know if that was a fundamental change. I don't know if that was a money thing, but it worked out for both teams. The Giants got better, and the Eagles got a cornerback. So when you see little small changes here and there, from a quarterback standpoint, Jalen Hurts definitely became a man. Daniel Jones, he came into his own. We've seen it with our own eyes twice now. What can happen with this team? Well, one, they're 13-4. Their offense is already good. They're going to have to figure out some money things here and there. They're going to have to figure out Ed Ingram. He's going to have another year to get better. I think as a second-year guy, as a rookie, he struggled. He's going to get better. Defensively, that's where the draft needs to go. We joked about Mike Zimmer and how often he wanted to draft DBs and how often he wanted to draft defensive guys.
Yeah.
This is definitely an offseason where you need to draft an entire defensive room almost. Like you need to take your bones, the guys that you're going to keep in this 3-4, if you're going to stick to a 3-4, and go draft some guys. Like watch Georgia, watch, and the problem though too, and when you look at I think the Vikings only have like 4 draft picks next year. I'm pretty sure they only have 4 because they've traded them all away.
Oh,
they have 4 draft picks this year. So that's the other thing is you're going to have to go trade some players to get some draft picks. Like, look at some of these teams that have a ton of draft picks, like the Bears, like the Lions, who are going to get a absolute haul from the Rams because the Rams sucked and they traded Matthew Stafford. So they're going to have to reach out to some of these teams, too, that want some of these veteran guys that are willing to give up some draft picks. Because I'm pretty sure the Vikings only have 4 picks this year.
This is as of November, and I think this was probably right around the time, this is from Vikings.com, when we acquired TJ Hawkinson. The Vikings have 4 selections, 1st, 3rd, 4th, and 5th at the moment.
So you got to trade some of these veterans. You have to. Like, you got to look at the pocketbooks of who you can unload and who you get some draft picks, because just trading players for multiple players is probably not the answer. You got to take what you have and build off this 13-win season. Maybe not 13 next year, maybe 11 or 12. Get back in the playoffs again, but get some rookies in that can help you out. And it can work. We were the youngest team in the NFL when the Ravens drafted us. I think we drafted, 12 guys? I think we had 19 rookies make the team that year with Bart Scott, Chester Taylor, myself, Will Demps. And then a year later, we were in the playoffs. And then fast forward a couple years, they're in the Super Bowl. So it can happen, but you have, and they kept the Ray Lewises and, the Pete Bowears, a lot of those guys, the bones of it stayed, but they got Terrell Suggs. I think that was a huge piece. There's got to be a guy out there that the Vikings are going to find that can become a true, if it is a 3-4 defense, a true outside linebacker and can kick Daniil down to some type of 5 or 3 technique in that defense.
Were you drafted? You were drafted by Ozzie Newsome, right?
Yep. Ozzie was my guy. Yeah.
Well, Ozzie was one of the great drafting GMs of the last 40 freaking years.
Yeah, he did a great job in Baltimore. I'll give him that.
The Vikings, unfortunately, over the last few seasons have not gotten enough out of their draft picks. 1-800-320-5326, 800-320-5326, KFAN text line 64686, 64686. Talkbacks on the free iHeartRadio app as well. Kicking along here, Vikings fan line, US Bank Stadium, quiet as the Vikings lost 31-24. Their season ends at the hands of the New York Giants. More of your calls, texts, and talkbacks around the corner. Vikings fan line, it's KFAN and the Minnesota Vikings radio network.
The Vikings are already celebrating a huge victory. The team's pregame show at US Bank Stadium was voted the best in-game entertainment in all of North American sports. I'm Hannah Flood from Fox 9. We got an unprecedented look at how the Vikings entertainment team brings the stadium to life on game day. From the Skull drum line to the cheer team to the control room, we used 15 cameras to follow the production of this incredible show. Check out our documentary Showtime on the Fox 9 YouTube page or at fox9.com/Showtime.
Bread. Delicious bread. It's so essential, it's often been exchanged like money throughout history. Well, at Quick Trip, our freshly made bread from our bakery saves you money. Because right now, our quick hot savings is Quickery white bread. Just 79 cents a loaf. 79 cents? Can you buy anything for 79 cents these days? Yup, a loaf of our fresh white bread. It's like inflation never happened here. So save some bread. Buying some bread. Just 79 cents a loaf. Only at Quick Trip. We got you covered.
How would I describe Mystic Lake? Well, it usually starts with some... Then a snack break with and some front row. Then another round of... Oh, don't forget the reservation. Followed by some Lux.
Room service.
So, Mystic tonight? Because it sounds like a win. Mystic Lake is a proud partner of the Minnesota Vikings. This season, join us for Thursday Night Lights, where you can win up to $1,000 Mystic Cash and a Minnesota Vikings prize pack.
Welcome to the Fourth Industrial Revolution, a revolution powered by data and applications, AI, and IoT. And now there's one company born to enable it, Lumen, the platform for next-generation business that combines adaptive networking, edge cloud, connected security, and collaboration. Lumen delivers the next-gen architecture that next-gen apps require. Say hello to Lumen, the platform for amazing things. Learn more at lumen.com.
Your home for all things purple.
Always hit and he's sacked.
FM 100.3 KFAN, The Fan.
Kirk out of the shotgun, takes the snap, deep drop, passes over the middle, caught, KJ, touchdown! KJ caught it at the 2, and he walked in untouched for a 9-yard touchdown. 17-13 Giants. Smith and Munt to the left. Second and goal from the 3. Flag on the play. Cousins to the end zone. Touchdown! Irv Smith Jr.
Welcome back. It is Vikings Fan Line. Minnesota Vikings lose 31-24. And as Chad Abbott and Zach Halverson try the best they can to clear out the iHeartMedia suite directly to my left, any remaining food, booze, sodas, blankets, anything they can get their hands on, we are sitting here rounding out a fan line for the final time, the 2022 season for the Minnesota Vikings, a 13-4 team, a division-winning team, but a wild card loser. We round this season out here. This is the final segment, at least on the Greater Vikings Radio Network. We'll continue strong with Vikings Fan Line moving forward locally with the free iHeartRadio app and also the flagship station, 100.3 FM The Fan. Let's jump back into the phone lines, 1-800-320-5326. And I want to start with Joseph. I'll call him Joe from Indiana. Joseph, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, how's it going, fellas?
Hey.
Just wanted to go ahead and touch base. Just left the game. Definitely a bad taste in the mouth, but I mean, it is what it is. The one thing I kind of wanted to talk about and bring up is where everybody's so psyched about our offense. Okay, look, yes, we have weapons, but our offensive line is shaky. It's been shaky all year. We have injuries. We don't know who's going to come back healthy. An Achilles injury with Brian O'Neill, that's a big deal. We don't know if that dude's going to go ahead and make it back and be right. Outside of that, we're capped on cap space. So, I mean, I don't know where the money's going to come from. And even if we do trade players, how much cap space is that going to alleviate? You know, if you guys want to go ahead and talk about that a little bit, that'd be great.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling in. Sorry you had to go to such a tough game. Ends the season. But yeah, and you know, I will say this as Ron Johnson joins me. I'm Nordo from 9 to noon. The Brian O'Neill injury, as significant as it was, and we want him to be ready. I heard, you know, whether it's in a boot, is he on a scooter, whatever he's got going on. Certainly an anchor on the right side of that offensive line. But Kirk ultimately, and without changing the entire offense, maybe it was a tweak here and there. It's a T.J. Hawkinson chip. It's Irv in there. We saw a lot of the extra O linemen, specifically on shorter yardage run plays tonight.
Yeah.
So there were tweaks that the offense made, Ron, to at least, I don't want to say totally make up for Brian O'Neill and his stout prominence there at right tackle. But I think they adjusted in a way that when we talk about this season and just drill it down to this game, I don't think the lack of Brian O'Neill lost this game for us. Does that make sense?
Correct.
But
I agree. I don't think that lost the game. You definitely saw him. I saw Ben Lieber, and I saw it on our pregame show earlier. Ben Lieber and I were talking off camera, and he just mentioned because I know what it does if you bring in an extra lineman or an extra tackle, or you like C.J. Ham played a bunch in that first drive, which I don't know why they didn't keep going with him in there. Like they had a great first drive with C.J. Ham in there, blocking, helping out, chipping, and then you don't bring him back in. Like I really don't understand that. But Ben Lieber, because I said, what does this do to the defense? And Ben explained, he said, you know what? When they have that many guys on the line, it thins out the defensive front. You can't be like if it's quarterback sneak, you see everybody kind of shoulder to shoulder and there's no room to go. There's no gaps. Well, when you extend that line and make it that long, that wide, guys all have to spread out to cover those gaps. And then now there's the cutback lane, and that's what you were seeing with Dalvin Cook, which was the cutback lane and all those things. So, again, I don't think Brian O'Neill that was a change. Now, would have helped to have him because then you could have put more guys in the routes, maybe went more 2 tight ends because Ben said 3 tight ends. I mean, Irv redeemed himself with that touchdown, but 1 catch, 3 yards, and a touchdown, that still doesn't make up for that drop. Like you got to be more consistent.
That moves the chains right there.
And again, I've been there before in big spot moments where you're trying to run before you catch the ball, and that's all that was. If Irv couldn't catch a ball, he wouldn't be in the NFL. He wouldn't have been a top college draft pick. So he can do it, but it's just calming down, getting back into his mental where he can be a true 2 tight end to T.J. Hawkinson's 1, because I think he could be really good. Like he has the speed, the ability to stretch the field. I mean, clearly he's going to be a forgotten guy at times, but he's got to be more consistent because Kirk clearly trusted Johnny Munt and T.J. Hawkinson down the stretch. And even when he threw it to Irv, it almost felt like you're open, I got to throw it to you, man. You better catch this. Like it didn't feel like that was where he really wanted to go with the ball. So, again, there's going to be a whole offseason for Irv to work with Kirk if he does come back here. But that's got to be another piece of that puzzle that can become a guy next to Brian O'Neill, and hopefully he's healthy. But, Yeah, I don't think Brian O'Neill lost his game.
No, and with the cap space issues, guys like Irv Smith Jr. becoming a free agent, as we mentioned last segment, just issues and decisions that this team's going to have to make. There's a lot of familiar names, specifically on the defense, that may or may not be here. And if they are here, probably at a significant discount. Dylan from Woodbury. Dylan in Woodbury, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Appreciate it, guys. Always fun to listen to the fan line. Unfortunately, it's after a loss, and it's tough to sit here and listen to Vikings fans be happy. I mean, obviously, we won 13 games. You're happy about that. By the way, I went to this game, and it was brutal. But yeah, I mean, the defense. Obviously, everyone's talked about the defense. We talked about the cap space. We're up against it next year. Who knows what we're going to do? But I mean, Kendricks, Hicks, they're slow, they're old. I mean, if we're going to have them playing the shell defense, it doesn't work out. I mean, the corners, Pat P, people talk good about him. I mean, he had a good year, I guess. But, I've seen him turned around so many times. Isaiah Hodgins turned him around, 3 times today on crucial plays. So, I mean, we're up against it next year, and honestly, you guys have been talking about this, but I mean, I don't know what we're going to do with this cap space. We got a lot of holes on defense. I mean, I don't know. It's tough, and I mean, the division's not going to get any worse. I mean, I see Green Bay coming back strong next year. I see Detroit looking good next year as well. So, I mean, it's going to be a long off season. This is a tough one to swallow. I mean, honestly, I didn't expect us to win this. If we won this game, I didn't think we were going to San Francisco and beating them next week. I don't think a lot of Vikings fans had faith in that. But it's just, I don't know. It's tough to, be positive when you know how, the cap space, the draft pick thing, and then, look at the draft this year. I mean, did we have I get Sean got hurt, but before he got hurt, he wasn't playing. So, I mean, the draft this year, we didn't have a single player from our draft help us this year. And I don't know if you guys, someone else I'm missing, but it's tough. And like you said, we got 4 draft picks and 0 cap space. So, I mean, we're going to really see if Koasi can, be a good G. I don't know. It's tough. He came into a tough situation, but yeah, it's brutal right now. And I mean,
yeah, appreciate you checking in there. Here's the thing with the they're $8 million under the cap. This is according to SpotRack.com. Adam Thielen, $19 million cap hit. Brian O'Neill, 19. Harrison Smith, 19. Za'Darius goes to 15 and 3/4. Dalvin Cook at 14. Danielle Hunter with 13. These are things that they're going to have to work through. I do want to hit on this. Ed Ingram played, I believe, every snap on offense this year as a rookie, as a right guard. The Oli Udoh situation, some of the penalties for the most part, held up good in some situations, good against the run moving forward, but pass protection and again, the holding penalties and mental mistakes by Oli a year ago were disastrous. So you bring in Ed Ingram, for the most part, holds up well, and health-wise, plays every game. We like that. Other than that, Caleb Evans, there was such promise there in moments. He has concussion issues. He's lost for the season. Brian Asamoah, I thought there was an evolution to his game as well. And the coaching staff trusting him in spots. He flew around. He's got arms that are longer than I am tall. And there's some promise there too, but clearly the injury to Lewis Seen after he failed to make the starting 11 in training camp over Cam Bynum, that was a tragic injury to him. And Andrew Booth's been basically hurt since junior high. So and when he was in, he just was ineffective. So and that's the same story, save for Cam Bynum, who started, and I believe he played every snap into this game as well on defense, that common thread of not getting help defensively from your draft picks has really hurt us in a number of ways. Back to the phone lines here. Let's go. How about Dan from Fargo? Let's check out. Let's see what's happening up 740 The Fan, Fargo way. Dan, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, guys. Thanks for the time. A couple things. I think we have to really closely examine Kevin O'Connell on a couple different issues. We're all in love with him. But certainly there have been times this year where I think he has been a little bit too cute. And when we're in playoff football and we're in a short down and distance situation, why do we go to something that is far too cute? Secondly, when Kevin O'Connell became head coach and he sat down with perhaps who? Kwesi or just him? And where was the thought process defensively? Ed Donatel. We know the track record at Ed Donatel. His track record has been laid out again this year. So I'd like you guys to address those two things. One, Kevin O'Connell's penchants seemingly this year for being a little bit too cute to show that he's a great offensive mind. And secondly, the reason behind Ed Donatel scrapping the entire defense and what that might mean looking forward. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Ron, this into the offseason, Kevin O'Connell has a chance to learn and get better as well. I have an immense amount of respect for him, and you know, as much as this loss just sucks. I mean, just from a pure talent standpoint, I feel like we were the better team today, but you don't play it on paper. And we were outcoached in a lot of ways, and that includes Kevin O'Connell, by the way. And you know, talking about maybe being too cute in some areas, inside the 5 on many occasions this year, I thought he was brilliant with some things that he drew up that created obvious mismatches, misdirection. But into the season, kind of the idea is, you know, we're going to get off to a fast start offensively because nobody has tendencies, nobody has a track record or trends in a path of obvious things that Kevin O'Connell does really well on offense. But then we got that. And then it was on film. And something that he's going to have to learn and evolve at is maybe decision-making in certain spots. We did cover that trick play earlier during Fan Line. Both of us agreed that it was just, I mean, at the least, mildly ridiculous to do that with the double pass, and then Kirk's just on an island with a couple of guys, tries to, I mean, whew. You know, he made some plays running the ball this year, but him trying to turn that corner like a ship, it didn't work out in the best spot. So we're ended up punting there, and but those types of moments, a guy like Kevin O'Connell is going to have to stew over, because he'll look back and he'll say, "What if we don't punt there? What if we move the chains and keep it going and we don't end up going 3 and out?" But again, the learning process, I would have to say, I think Kevin O'Connell had a terrific first year. For the most part, I can speak positively about just most of the coaching staff that he has assembled. Good moments throughout the season. You know, the Ed Donatel thing, is he meant, you know, I don't know what the process of selecting that was. Who was available? What if he wasn't like their? What if Ed Donatel wasn't his first choice? Like, we don't know how all of that went into the process of assembling this thing. But for the most part, I think he has a lot to learn. I think he will learn those things. And, you know, overall, despite this thud of an ending to the season, I'm not down on KOC. I just, now he has a chance to prove that he's going to learn from it into next season. That makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think
that
he
was
is.
A diatribe.
I think he is.
So
annoyed. And to give you something to like chew on, because we just heard the guy bring up draft picks and not helping and all this other stuff. There's so many what ifs about this season we can go and what ifs. What if this happened? What if this guy, the Vikings were able to draft this guy? When you look at all the, because you know, look at the safeties. You know, we talked about, what about the safety from Notre Dame? You know, he goes to the Ravens. They're like,
Kyle Hamilton.
He's not starting for the Ravens. You look at Dax Hill, you know, from Michigan. He goes to the Bengals. He's not starting. Lewis Seen is who the Vikings get. Who knows what happens if he doesn't get hurt? Like, maybe he does get better as the season goes on, because that was early in the season. I mean, you got Tyler Linderbaum. You know, he is starting at center for the Ravens. Could the Vikings have drafted him and moved Garrett Bradbury over to guard, and then they don't have to go get a guard? I mean, there's a lot of things. You got Quay Walker. They could have drafted Quay Walker, the linebacker out of Georgia, who plays outside rush backer in a 3-4 defense.
Yeah, we would have lost him on a couple occasions.
Hey, he would have pushed a couple trainers and maybe smacked a coach, but he got after the quarterback. So maybe Danielle Hunter can stay at the 3 technique, and you have him and Zadarius Smith as true outside linebackers who play that position. So there's a lot of guys you can go back and forth. You can say, oh, what about Jamison Williams? Well, he didn't do a ton for Detroit towards the end, but he definitely is a guy.
Yeah.
Could they have drafted him and just put him next to Justin Jefferson like Devonta Hill and A.J. Brown with the Eagles and just go get 2 monsters? Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of what ifs you can play with this, and just like I've always been taught, draft the best available. Don't try to maybe get Jordan Davis at D tackle. You draft him, he's a monster at D tackle. That helps your defense out. So again, we can go back and play this whole draft over again and say, man, I wish they had done this. I wish they had done that. They didn't. Like you said, Kevin O'Connell's going to learn from this season. I think he's going to learn from play calling. This was his first year calling plays. Like, he didn't call plays for the Rams. He was the coordinator, quote unquote, but he didn't call the plays. So,
well, check this out though. Brian Daboll, not his first year calling plays. That's actually what he did at an extremely high level with high-end players in Buffalo. True. He gave play calling duties to Mike Kafka, the former Wildcat.
True.
Northwestern's finest.
Yeah.
I think that's where he went, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm making it up as I go. You made it up. Kyle Hamilton started the last 4 games for the Ravens, by the way. He was available during different trade back scenarios, as was Jordan Davis, as you mentioned, who, to be honest, I haven't followed it. I mean, they got Robert Quinn in there. They've tried to bolster that D-line in Philly the best they can, and well, we didn't get to see him play this weekend because they were the best in the NFC, and they had.
Maybe if Lewis Cine was available, he could have started the last 4 for the Vikings. Who knows? He could have been the nickel to chase down Daniel Jones, and they win this game. And he doesn't rush for 70-something yards.
Let's get to the offense here. Assuming this is what he still wants to talk about. Nick in Rochester. Welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Whoa. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm a weekly listener, staple of my week every week.
Oh, thank you.
Been better here.
Mood lighting
after
here
the
in the
game.
booth.
What's that?
Continue on. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
I can hear you.
They are who they said we are. After I look back a couple of weeks and look at Jefferson to start, he had 10 100-yard games this year. And ever since Jair Alexander and Green Bay gritted on him, he hasn't been the same. He's had 100 yards the last 3 games. And I see how Kirk Cousins finished the game, and I'm wondering, is he ever going to be more than a 500 quarterback? We have 4 picks next year. How's he going to get better than what we had going on this season? His team was celebrating early on. Kirk Cousins, he's got chains around his neck in the back of buses. Is hanging a divisional banner the best as the Vikings are ever going to be?
No, I hear you. Thanks for the call. JJ's season, again, and
prolific.
It was absolutely prolific. Led the NFL, 6th all time in terms of the stats, the receiving yardage, 128 catches, just the 8 touchdowns. Hoping that continues to ascend for him, and he's an absolute stud, an absolute star. But and I don't remember how much we got into it after the border battle when Jair and company, who wasn't defending him by himself, by the way, he had a safety over the top the entire freaking game. But we did talk about it a bit then, where in the victories, it was something like 130 yards a game, 7, 8, 9 targets in that area that he was averaging when this team was winning. Again, the offense really predicated on number 18 this season.
Yeah.
In those losses, he was averaging about 35 yards a game and like 4 or 5 targets, and less success in those instances. JJ, since we're in the business of talking about learning from things now that the season's over, how can he continue to get better in situations where a Jair Alexander is just chewing on him the entire game? Mm-hmm. And you can hit him at the line and you can get him out just for even a split second. Mm-hmm. And maybe in those situations he's not necessarily as available or as effective as he could be. Not that this game or this season if he's, we're not
totally
blaming JJ for anything.
No, I totally got where you're going. No. So, I mean, to your point, one, you were right. Mike Kafka was at Northwestern. He also was a Minnesota Vikings quarterback in 2015.
Elite Evanston mind.
And then went really fast in 4 years as Chiefs quality control, then pass game coordinator, offensive coordinator. So, yeah, he's one of those fast. He'll be up for a head coach's job, I'm pretty sure, in the next 3 years.
And Dable gave him the play calling duty.
Correct. Yep, you're right. I just
maybe maybe in the dark corner.
And he's early on in his play call, so maybe Kevin O'Connell can get him to come over to this side.
We got a guy, so I don't know what the
Wes Phillips.
I don't know what the seating assignments are here to our right.
You got Wes Phillips,
coach's booth.
Wes Phillips can call the plays.
Maybe that's the thing.
Maybe it is. But when you look at to your point though, Justin Jefferson, how do you get better? When he watches film, there's not a lot he did wrong this year. So how do you get better? And I always look at what Chris Carter, because Chris Carter came on my show and I interviewed him, and what he said for himself, even when he got Randy in '98, he's like, there's not much I can teach Randy. He said, this is what I can do for Randy though. And this is where Justin's going to watching film and understanding the cover. So like you said, when they're coming up and press, he's now going to have that role next year to be able to maybe signal, because Chris Carter would say this. Randy would, and you've heard these stories, Randy would signal when he knew, like, hey, this is my time. Tap my helmet, whatever it was, or touch my face mask.
Oh, it was a hand in the air, but a lot of times.
But it was before that, he did something. Yeah, so he would do so, and they're all retired, so it doesn't matter, but you can watch the interview with Chris Carter. But there's a lot of little things like that where you could touch your face mask. Reggie Wayne had him, same thing. Reggie Wayne said with Peyton, they would do a little hand signal here and there, and they were telling Peyton, like, look, I got single man coverage, or I got this. Justin's going to learn to get a little bit more aggressive with that. I know he's a mild-mannered guy. He's a really cool, nice guy. He doesn't ruffle feathers. He's not going to TO the bit and do, push-ups or sit-ups in his front yard and all that stuff. He's a locker room guy. But I think what he's going to learn is kind of the Randyisms of like, hey, if this guy's pressing me, coming back, hey, coach, I'm getting way too much press. You got to get me off the ball himself. Like, tell him, coach, get me off the ball. Like, don't have so much pride to feel like, because if you know you're getting double covered, well, let me get off the ball so I can motion and then get going fast enough where now, like that deep ball Kirk threw to him, he was double covered, but Kirk still gave him a chance. Things like that can happen when he knows. And then why did he get it? Because he didn't get pressed. He was able to get into that double team quicker, and he probably would have made the play if he didn't run into the back of the safety. Like, he ran into him almost and tried to hold him. Great play by doing that, because you stop an interception. But if he maybe could have ran by him and just out, and mossed him and made a big catch. But yeah, when I think that's gonna be the little things for Justin, is understanding the coverage and being able to relay that to Kirk so he can say, hey, if you see this, kill it to this. Like, motion me in, switch something up, because they're doubling me. And now let's get to a play where I am the guinea pig, or I am the rabbit, and I'm going to get these guys out of here. And you'll have T.J. Hockenson on the deep over, because the Giants did that all day. The Giants ran deep over, deep cross, and unders all day, and the Vikings kept having the guy wide open. So there has to be something to take from that, with Justin Jefferson.
And by the way, those are little things that he needs to work on.
Yeah. Again, when you have 1,800 yards, you're the best receiver in 3 years in NFL history, there's not a lot to do. I mean, you watch his gritty. His gritty probably, I think he's going to add to that. Like, it's going to be another level. He had the hamstring gritty. He had the hamstring with the sachet. I don't even know what that one was.
We even brought Lug Gritty to the Twin Cities tonight.
That was the first, and I didn't realize that was the first time they had actually met. Because he got the gritty from Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase was the first one to do it, because that was a guy he knew from high school. Justin just got to the league first. So that was the story I got down there.
There we go. Yeah, we had Luda here. This was supposed to be a victory.
It was.
What an awful evening. But it's warm outside.
It was cool though to see all the Vikings families were down there for Luda. Like, they were super excited. It was.
Adrian Peterson was
Adrian Peterson was in the building. You had John Randall doing the pregame. That was probably the best pregame I've seen ever.
Yeah.
Like, John Randall coming out the tunnel, doing it on the screen first, then coming out the tunnel for the fans. It was so much that was built up that it should have been a movie-like ending. But in most movies, there does have to be this moment. There has to be that sombering moment that wins you an Emmy, because this is how it ends. And then maybe the movie's just starting, where Kevin O'Connell, now you're going to see the offseason like Rocky or like Creed, where after they get beat up, they go work out in the desert and they come back totally ripped and they're ready to go the next season. So this is probably just the intermission of the movie where you're sad about the hero being beaten up. Iron Man got absolutely destroyed. Everybody, the Hawk got killed and then came back, and Thanos beat him to bits. everybody has to go through this, and this is just the Vikings. This is the somber moment in the middle of the movie.
Oh, no workout montages this time, Ron. The only one we're going to get is
we're going to see some off-season workouts.
Brian McKnight's One Last Cry tomorrow, 9 to noon. I don't know what Tenna has cooked up. Probably Sad Eyes, but I'll leave that the artistic discretion up to him. That's it for Vikings Fan Line, at least on the Greater Vikings Radio Network. We're going to continue. You can switch on over via the free iHeartRadio app, or just listen to us locally on the flagship, 100.3 FM The Fan. We'll let the network go. I wish I could say, well, the next time we'll talk is this next Saturday or Sunday at the Bay in Santa Clara at Levi Stadium. We're playing the Niners. That's not the case. The Vikings season is officially over. Thanks so much to Brandon Molesky back at the station, not only and Zach Halverson helping with the streaming action here at the stadium, to Ron Johnson, and to all of you for listening. But those of you on hold, continue to do so. We'll get to your calls around the corner. The text line, Bradshaw and Bryant text line 64686. Talkbacks on the free iHeartRadio app as well. Thanks for listening to Vikings Fan Line. This has been KFAN and the Minnesota Vikings Radio Network.
Football season means tailgating, touchdowns, and cheering for your favorite team. In Minnesota, there are nearly 100 local credit unions with over 300 branches for you to team up with to take your money further. Credit unions stand for community and trust. They keep any profits local and provide members better savings rates. Your teammates own a credit union, and that means you're all working for the same goals. More transparency, more trust will give you more personal financial wins. Visit MinnesotaCreditUnions.org to find your local credit union to take your money further.
Where will your new Chevy take you this year? Anywhere. It's the perfect time of year to take your next adventure off-road in a powerful Chevy Silverado. Round up the whole gang for some family fun in a Chevy Equinox. Hey kids, let's go. Yeah! Or take your night on the town by storm in a stylish Chevy Blazer. Chase new beginnings, make more memories, and take on the road ahead, wherever it leads you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Well-qualified buyers can get 2.99% APR financing on all 2022 and 2023 Silverado 1500 pickups, or get $1,500 cash allowance on all 2022 Silverado pickups with a 2.7-liter turbo high-output engine. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer. Length of contract limited, must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. APR financing not available with lease and some other offers. Cash allowance not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 1/31/23.
Hey, it's Moss. It's so exciting to move, unless, of course, you got to move yourself. That's why I love Two Men in a Truck. Whether you're going cross-country or just down the street, Two Men in a Truck can take the stress out of moving. They also offer fast and efficient junk removal. So wherever life takes you, for home or business, Two Men in a Truck can get you there with fewer headaches. I've known them, I've used them, and they are amazing. Always courteous and professional. So stop stressing. Do yourself a favor and contact Two Men in a Truck for your next move or junk removal. Two Men in a Truck, the movers who care.
Hey, fans of the purple and gold, it's Paul Allen. And if you're sick of trying to tackle your deck maintenance, then rush over to TimberTech. TimberTech looks more like real wood than any other composite brand. And it's tough enough to handle even the harshest Minnesota weather. Want to lock up some protection too? TimberTech offers warranties that give you up to 50 years of coverage. So if you're ready to build the perfect place to kick back and kick off this season, visit TimberTech.com to get free samples. TimberTech. Everything wood should be.
Brianna is a 24-year member of LIUNA, the Construction Laborers Union.
I am proud to be part of a growing number of women in the union construction trades. I've learned that the work is more about effort and commitment than physical strength. I do all things men do, including working with the 90-pound jackhammer on demolition projects. Being a part of LIUNA has helped me earn great pay and benefits, including a pension and health coverage. I also get free training that has helped me work in every market sector out there, from roads to public buildings to energy. With LIUNA, we're building a better Minnesota.
Visit buildthenorth.org.
The other day, I bought a cockatoo. Hello! He's a handful, but I'll manage. Just like I manage without home internet. Sure, my mobile hotspot is slow and makes streaming shows unbearable, but I'm making do. Oh no, who's this?
It's mating season, Dad!
No home internet? It's not that bad!
Don't settle. Get Xfinity Home Internet for just $19.99 a month for 1 year with a free streaming box. Call, click, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. After 12 months, regular rates apply. Offer ends 2/21/23.
Prescription products required online consultation with a healthcare provider.
provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation and discreet shipping if prescribed. You'll love your results. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
The Twin Cities home for Vikings talk. FM 100.3 KFAN. The Fan.
Fan Line on iHeartRadio and The Fan are presented by our broadcast partners. Minnesota Credit Union Network, Youngsteds, Carboni's Pizzeria, and by your local Chevy dealers. Join the conversation on Vikings Fan Line by calling 800-320-5326 using the TalkBack feature on the iHeartRadio app or by sending us a message on the KFAN social channels. Now, continuing to take your calls, talkbacks, and social message, this is Vikings Fan Line with Ron Johnson and KFAN's Eric Nordquist.
What a season it was. 13 wins, a division banner, and a loss on Wild Card Weekend. The Vikings lose 31-24 to the visiting New York Giants, and their season ends 13-5, I guess is the overall record. I'm Nordo from 9 to noon. Ron Johnson is with me here. Thanks for listening on the free iHeartRadio app or via the flagship 100.3 FM, The Fan. Right here in Minneapolis. We are still here at US Bank Stadium. And your calls, 800-320-5326, 1-800-320-5326. We also have the KFAN text line, 64686, courtesy of Bradshaw and Bryant, 64686. The messages are getting just infinitely more born of intoxication and anger, spelling errors, vulgarities, so I'm going to work my way through that at the best I can. The talkback feature on the free iHeartRadio app is in vogue as well. Let's start things out. Let's go to Stephen in North Dakota. Stephen in North Dakota, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, thank you so much, Noto and Ron. I tell you what, I love how you guys do Fan Line. Please stick around. I know someday you'll probably move on, but hey, just want to let you know, I watched that play back, that last play. It was kind of disheartening that Cousins threw short of the sticks, but I'm telling you right now, I watched it back 3 times. Cousins was either going to get laid out or he was going to make the pass that he made. He did not have time. Their tackle did spin around, and Ezra Cleveland just got pushed right back into Cousins' lap, and he was actually kind of lucky he got it off. However, if the line would have held there, honestly, like I said, Dalvin Cook initially started the play to the right. He went underneath the lineman, didn't pick anybody out, scooted out to the left in the flat. He was covered. However, JJ was coming open. JJ was coming open in the middle, and you could just see it, but he didn't have the time, boys. And the only thing I would want to say is we just need to stay positive. Anybody calling in, whining and complaining, have a solution, for what your complaint is. But I do agree with most of the folks. The defense was egregious at best, and it was. I don't think I've ever seen a defense like that in the playoffs. So, but love the show, and let's go Skull Vikes.
Yeah, thank you. So there, and based on what we talked about earlier, Ron, that final play, Kirk was going to take a hit. Mm-hmm. He's taken a lot of hits this year, and you just, as you mentioned, you kind of wanted TJ maybe to just run an 8-yard route. You didn't have to be the kind of the. I don't know if you said he was going to hold and wait and then release.
Yeah, it was kind of like a delay release. He also, this thing is going to be one of those things you look at every day for like a good week or so.
Oh yeah,
and then just forget about it. But I can't wait for the all-22 to be loaded because I actually want to when people see my Twitter, they're going to be like, dude, let this play go. I'm going to keep breaking it down. But the one thing I also thought too now looking at it, he could have run a Texas route. Like the middle of the field is 36 is going with Dalvin because Dalvin is running the bubble. It's wide, like the middle of the field is wide open. And I know KJ Osborne was the deep over. Yeah. Then why not have a Texas route underneath? Give Kirk 2 options to where he's looking high to low. He can look high to KJ and then come right back to a slant where, I mean, we've seen Justin Jefferson do it where he kind of does the like dance off the line, shimmy, head fake out, and then comes back to the middle's wide open. With that timing, again, he didn't have enough time, but I think Kirk could have stood in there a little bit longer and then gotten it to TJ Hockenson, even on the slant. But at least on the slant, he's running away from the defender with an opportunity to maybe get, 8 yards, but he had to run like maybe carry the guy for 3 more yards. I'm gonna watch this play probably 50 times before I let it go. But I just keep looking at this play. Justin, even Thielen on the go route. When you have that side has the 2 bunch set, the nasty split, it's man. You got to look at the fade first. Like if I know looking at that front, they were coming.
Yeah,
throw the fade. But again, it's gonna bother me.
I dig it. And now we're all rooting for the Ravens. You because you used to play there. I'm rooting for Kyle Hamilton and the Ravens so that the Vikings aren't the only home team in the higher seed to lose.
True.
On Wild Card Weekend, Ravens with a 10-9 lead, 8 minutes and counting to go in the third quarter there. So a lot closer maybe with Tyler Huntley manning the birds than anyone would have thought. But this is Vikings fan line, so let's get to the phone lines. Connor in St. Paul. Connor, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good, how are you?
Not bad. I want to talk about Kirk a little bit.
Okay. You have the floor, sir.
I love the chain. Yeah, I love the chain gang. It's just not going to... First of all, can we talk about the skull chant? The skull chant...
Well, I thought we were talking about Kirk. I don't really want to talk about the skull chant right now. What do you got on Kirk? Otherwise, we can move on.
Yeah, the skull chant's the worst.
All right. Well, at any rate, let's move on. Let me see here. Jeremy in North Dakota. Let's go back up to Nodak. Jeremy, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, thank you guys for taking my call. First off, I'm going to pull a page from A-Raj and say RELAX. I believe we do have the right coach, and I believe he should keep calling these plays. Just because, something went wrong on 3rd and 3, nobody was second-guessing on the fake punts that we got. And, Nordo, love your raps, by the way. Absolutely love your raps at the end of the PA show. And I don't think our defense can get much worse. I mean, I guess I'm looking at the glass half full.
No, I dig that, Jeremy. Yeah, thanks for calling in. And yeah, I haven't been necessarily full force advocating. I brought that up as an option just because I look at the offense as being a victim of a lack of balance over the course of the season. And, in the end, you're going to go to Pro Football Reference or any of the stats, and you're going to see, hey, this was a top 7 or 8 team in points. It was top 8 or 9 in yards. So why in the hell after this season are we talking about the offense when the focal point needs to be the defense? For the most part, I'm going to agree. But in the end, there are other individuals that, as new head coaches, there's so much to do. There's so much to manage. And I think for a team that was tied among the most delay of game penalties, just working through the mechanics is really what I'm getting at. I'm not saying that Kevin O'Connell can't call plays next year.
Right.
But I do think that when you look back, let's not ignore the offense. Let's not just say everything's fine and just roll it back out, because KOC is going to be thinking about this and they're going to be talking about it. I think it's okay if we talk about it too.
Right.
So figuring out these little intricacies that may have led to inadequacies on the offensive side, where in moments, let's protect the defense by elongating drives. The 3 and outs, having among the most 3 and outs in the NFL, we may have been 7th or 8th best in scoring, but we were putting our defense in bad spots.
Right.
Now, I don't think that means if those 3 and outs weren't occurring, that this 31st ranked defense was suddenly 10th. But all the same, these are just things that they need to talk about. Kevin O'Connell, after 1 year and 13 wins, I think he's built an incredibly stable platform with which to grow from. Yeah. And that's a really good thing. That's a positive thing while we tear this thing out and build it back up again.
Yeah, and to your point, when you look at the 3 and outs and time of possession, today it was 33-26.
Yeah.
But it was a close game. And so what were the Giants doing? Well, you're right. They were prolonging drives. They were getting the simple first downs when it's 3rd and 1. They were running quarterback sneaks. When it was 2nd and 1, they were just running the ball with Saquon Barkley to get a first down to give me 3 more downs. Like, they were doing the simple, easy stuff, whereas sometimes you question some of the play calling of the Vikings. Like, 1st and 13 or 1st and 15, the next play is a dead play. 2nd and 15. Like, get half of that back. If you know they're going to back up and think you're going to do something, like, I don't know. It was baffling. Like, a lot of that stuff was baffling to me.
Back to the phone lines. Tony in Minneapolis. Tony, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
I got you, Tony.
So what I really wanted to talk about was Justin Jefferson. He finished with, I think, 7 catches for 47 yards. They were scheming him up real good at the beginning of the game, but I don't get why they weren't scheming him more towards the end, I feel like he's your best player on that final drive. You should have plays that go to him. And the short route that gets that at the beginning, but I just don't understand why that wouldn't lead to some deeper plays down the field. I feel like the pass protection was there for that. And also, I have a question for you guys. I like KJ Osborne. I like Adam Thielen. But is there a guy out there that the Vikings could try to acquire this offseason that would pair a little bit better with Justin Jefferson?
Hey, thanks for the call, man. And we'll have time now over the next, let me see here. It's 15th of, free agency is only a couple of months away. And I got the draft. Like, this cycle just doesn't end. 9 to noon. I anticipate we'll be at the Combine again. That's going to be sweet. Again, part of not ignoring the offense. Maybe there's a weapon out there and how that works. I think Adam Thielen, I've seen it on the KFAN text line, at least 10 to 12 of them noting how much money Adam Thielen's going to make next year.
Yep.
So Thielen's name certainly needs to be in the camp among those more difficult conversations. But, you kind of hit on it where it's I don't know if it was Kirk that kind of went away from kind of taking advantage of 50-50 opportunities, but lacking our best player in those spots when we've relied upon him to be great in so many moments. I mean, that's nothing but a lose situation, Ron.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
This is the thing. I'm never gonna and I'm gonna go from a high level. Coaches have a tough job. Players have a tough job. This is a tough organization. This is a tough, this whole business is tough. At the end of the day, and I'm staring at like draft picks because now I'm looking at cornerbacks and I'm like, what cornerbacks could the Vikings have gotten? Like Cam Taylor-Britt out of Nebraska. You look at some of these cornerbacks that got drafted after Andrew Booth Jr. and like any of these guys could have maybe competed, and had a chance. Caleb Evans, we were hoping he could have stayed healthy. Like, there's so much to this where you look at, like you said, you brought up the Adam Thielen and the money thing. How much of that heart, is going to be like, man, we love him. He's a Minnesota guy. He's grown up here. He became a man here. He became the man here. I think they saw those things said like 55 touchdowns or something. Like, all of that, but then it's like, do you really let him stay on for that money if you know you need to use it elsewhere? When you look at teams like the Bears with a $100 million salary cap, and then the Vikings had $1 million.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff, I think is going to be gut check time in the offseason. And that's why it's, we do our jobs. We're going to be able to talk about this all offseason. Every time a move happens, we're going to break it down and talk about it. And do we like it? Do we hate it? What's coming up next? Cornerbacks. Again, you got 4 draft picks. Do you just make all 4 defense this year? And just say, you know what? I think our offense is good enough. Let's try to figure this out. Let's get a bunch of young guys on defense.
I think there's 0 chance. Well, it's just 1% chance that we end up with just 4. There might
they're definitely going. Yeah,
there might be some compensatory picks and such. But as Kwesi, as he did in the draft this first time around, his whole bit was, we need like 3 to 4 guys in the first 2 days. Right. It was all about getting picks within the first 100 selections. And he tried his best to do it.
I'm pretty sure Kobe Bryant was playing for the Seattle Seahawks. Could have drafted him out of Cincinnati. He was opposite Sauce Gardner. I said that. But hey.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. People thought I said it just because of his name. Yeah. Everybody said
he was a little steamy into the draft as a day 2, day 3 type player.
But when you watch Sauce, then he flashes on screen. And if you remember, he actually was one of the top corners earlier before Sauce took over. Like he was considered a top corner, whatever that award is, a year or 2 before that. So he had it, and the Seahawks got him. So
That's Ron
Fourth round
Johnson.
pick.
I'm Eric Nordquist. A couple more segments to go. We'll get to your calls not only on hold, but via the text line. That's an option too, 64686. Talkbacks via the free iHeartRadio app. Hit that microphone. 1-800-320-5326 is the phone number. Vikings lose 31-24 to the Giants. They're out of the playoffs. Their season is done, and we'll continue Fan Line around the corner right here on the Fan.
You know, Lee, when it comes to exterior remodeling, JTR Roofing is the best way.
Oh, you got that right, Chris. We've both had JTR working on our homes, so we've seen the great work they do.
It's incredible work. Plus, I really appreciate how they explain the whole process. I mean, from the estimate to the finished job, I always knew what was going on, and that's not easy.
Organizational skills do come easier to some than others, Chris. For right now, the most important thing is that people remember JTR Roofing for their next exterior project. Online at roofwithjtr.com.
I started my power line company with just a few contracts. Rachel from Choice Bank helped me grow my business with equipment financing through the SBA. Now I have more time for line dancing. Rachel helps me reach my goals, from my business to my boot scooting boogie. I'm Lou. I'm a lineman by trade, but a line dancer by choice.
Choice Bank. We're committed to your business, your success, and to you. It's what we mean by people first banking. Go to bankwithchoice.com.
At Evans, we know that defense and big stops wins you championships. But when it comes to logistics, moving forward is key. Ben Lieber here for my guys at Evans. If logistics were football, Evans would be an explosive offense, dropping dimes and hitting the gritty. Make Evans your favorite logistics team today. Evans will be your signal caller you can jump on their backs and ride to victory. Get ahead of the competition right now and have a great experience while you're at it. Visit evanstrans.com. Again, evanstrans.com.
Hey, Minnesota fans, it's Paul Allen. Know what the legendary Purple People Eaters and TimberTech decking have in common? A dominating defense. TimberTech has the durability to hold up against Minnesota weather for decades. Not only will it not rot, warp, or splinter like conventional wood, but it looks more like real wood than any other composite brand. And with up to a 50-year warranty, you're protected season after season. Order free samples at TimberTech.com to see the boards for yourself. TimberTech, everything wood should be.
Football season means tailgating, touchdowns, and cheering for your favorite team. In Minnesota, there are nearly 100 local credit unions with over 300 branches for you to team up with to take your money further. Credit unions stand for community and trust. They keep any profits local and provide members better savings rates. Your teammates own a credit union, and that means you're all working for the same goals. More transparency, more trust will give you more personal financial wins. Visit MinnesotaCreditUnions.org to find your local credit union to take your money further.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code SPORTS at checkout. That's harrys.com, code SPORTS. Enjoy.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
When you're rolling Charmin Ultra Soft on the party, this is more, so roll it back, everybody. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. The grip is always soft. It's our party vice. So what chicks feel fly. So what? Everybody wanna touch the sky.
Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Minnesota Wild Washington Capitals, Tuesday night at 6 on the station for Minnesota Wild Hockey, FM 100.3 KFAN, The Fan.
Second and goal from the 1 for the Minnesota Vikings, and the game is scoreless. 12th play of a possession that's gone 74 yards. They've thrown 7 times and run 4. Cousins under center. Hawkinson in motion to the right. Now back to the left. I formation. Cousins sneaks. Cousins dives. Cousins plunges.
Come on, give it to him. There we go.
Touchdown!
Welcome back to Vikings Fan Line. That was your local Chevy dealers drive of the game. Big thanks to the support from our local Chevy dealers throughout the 2022 Vikings season. That was a 12-play, 75-yard drive, and it encompassed the first 6 minutes, 37 seconds of the game today, and that was 7-0 in favor of Minnesota. Greg Joseph didn't have to worry about those extra points today, did you? That put the Vikings ahead. I believe that would be their only lead of the day. So that's your local Chevy dealers drive of the game. Ron Johnson's here. I'm Nordo from 9 to noon. And let's jump on the phone lines, 800-320-5326. John from, is it Ceylon? I apologize. I'm stupid and it's late.
Actually, Ceylon.
Ceylon. Okay, third time's the charm. What's up, brother?
Well, okay, I got a couple things. I'll go quick so I can get them in. Number one, I was telling your guy there, I think that the Vikings maybe got a little ahead of themselves this year. And hear me out on this. With Donatel, I think they knew the defense had trouble because it's been bad for 3 years. I remember laying in the hospital with COVID on Christmas 2 years ago when Kamara became the superhero. And so I think they got into the season, realized they're winning, and then they went, oh, no, this defense, I mean, we're not there with the system yet. We don't have the guys. And I swear to God, if I see Danielle Hunter in coverage again, I'll just probably run myself off the road. And then, secondly, one thing I wanted to share with you guys is, I've raised all my kids to be Viking fans, and shame on me. But I work at the stadium tonight. I get a call on FaceTime from my 8-year-old daughter, and she said, and she's crying, and she says, "Dad, this is classic Vikings."
Hey, I appreciate it, John. That is a sentiment. I got this from the text line as well. 64686, the text line. A first-year head coach going 13-4 is a big overachievement. And I'm just thankful for the ride. Can't wait to see how we add pieces this offseason. Now, this was interesting. Also, someone set me up on a date with Halvey. So I've starred this message so that Zach Halverson, I got the phone number here. I'm gonna let it be and allow Zach Halverson to handle that. But is there
in those DMs?
Is this a fatalist defense mechanism to say, you know what, we went 13-4, we probably shouldn't have, so we just overachieved and it's all good? Or is there some validity to it?
So there's the thing. So you could say, I wish they had lost, and so they had a higher draft pick or whatever it might be. If they had lost, we wouldn't be so caught up in the fact that the defense is that bad. I mean, there's a lot of what ifs. But at the same time, you saw how a high-powered offense can really be good if they just had a little bit better defense. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be remarkably better. Just a little bit. So it could be scheme. It could be execution. Either way, I don't know. Like Ed Donatel, Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, they're going to have to sit down with the Wilfs probably as well and figure this thing out. Like, what does this look like? Is moving on? Is there a hotshot defensive coordinator out there, DB coach or linebackers coach that you're like, you know what, somebody for the Rams or whatever, somebody Kevin O'Connell knows, somebody for the Patriots. Like, hey, I know this guy from the Patriots. I know he's a linebackers coach. Belichick's never given it up to him there. Come over and be my defense coordinator. Like, I don't know what the answer is.
Well, I know Chargers fans, they were hoping Brandon Staley gets fired because of what has transpired as recently as, less than 24 hours ago, loss at Jacksonville. And Vikings fans are trying to make that connection. Like, obviously, Staley, who is a fantastic defensive play caller,
right,
that he gets nixed and he comes over here and he becomes
Kevin O'Connell. Two young guys coming together to make it happen. I mean, who knows? I mean, that could happen, and Ed Donatel stays on as executive. Brandon Staley's defense, though, what does that look like? Is it, hey, we have Danielle Hunter, we have a true defensive end that can create havoc at any point in any game? Do we go back to a 4-3 and make Zadarius the old Anthony Barr, a true 4-3 linebacker that we know can get after the quarterback, can stay on the field on third down and rush the quarterback as now a defensive end? So, I mean, there's a lot to it, but then are you putting Zadarius in a spot that he isn't like because he's a 3-4 outside backer? I mean, it's one of the two. Like, is it more value to have Zadarius be a 4-3 linebacker and then rush the passer on third down like we hoped Anthony Barr would do and then let Danielle be himself? Or is it, let's give Daniil another year in this 3-4 and see if he can learn it, if he can really make it work, if he can drop back into coverage. I don't think he's a drop back into coverage guy personally. I think he's a get after the quarterback guy. So the piece of the offseason, we'll see.
Shane in Sioux Falls. Shane in Sioux Falls, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, Noto. Hey, Ron.
Hey.
How's it going, guys?
Good, man.
Tough day. Hey, tough day today, but I've talked to you guys probably 3 or 4 times this year, and one of the first times I called in, it was like that 8th, 9th game of the year when the Vikings were winning these one-score games week after week. And I was like, I don't know what to think of the team. So just enjoy the ride. See what happens, And so I'm not upset today. I'm not. I'm not surprised. It would have been nice if they'd have won, but I just, anything that they achieved this year was going to be a bonus. But going into next year, like with today's game, I put some of it on Kevin O'Connell. He needed to protect his defense today. The defense isn't good. They've been giving up yards like crazy. And I think the turning point of the game was the JJ pass to Cousins. You got 30 yards, you got Dalton, you got a bad run defense. Just pound that thing in there, and they needed to win time of possession today. They needed to go 35-25, and instead it was 33-27 Giants with time of possession. And I just, I know a lot of other people made a comment, he was too cute. Well, I agree, in that regard. And it's a little disappointing. I think KOC needs to obviously make some adjustments in his play calling. I like things flexible. 1 week we're going to be kind of, a little bit more run heavy or pass heavy, but just a little disappointing. And then as soon as that play was run, they didn't get it. I was like, that's it. I could just see the momentum turn.
I appreciate you calling in throughout the year. Appreciate your call tonight, Shane. The only thing, yes, tweaking to the play calling, all those things need to exist. And as we go to break, final segment of Vikings Fan Line around the corner, I'm reminded by the article that Ben Gessling wrote in the Star Tribune. I encourage those of you out there to take a peek at it. And it's something I'm going to want to dig into, and I'm sure Ron will as well, into the offseason. Kind of the implication via talking with Kevin O'Connell that only about 30% of the plays that KOC would send into the helmet of one Kirk Cousins, only about 30% of them were actually run as called. Now, does that mean that it's simple that we flip the sides of it? Does that mean that a certain hot route is established, or maybe there's other nuances to it? But Kirk was given more power and autonomy at the line than he's had at least
ever
during his tenure with the Vikings, and certainly probably ever in his career as a starting quarterback. So even as we drill down the balance or lack thereof of this offense and just a hideous run game, I mean, oh my God, with this run game this season. But that's got to be part of the conversation too, right? The quarterback and how much is being changed at the line, and then it works, so then we're all happy about it. But does it take away from other aspects of the offense? I mean, this is just what a rat's nest this thing is, Ron.
No, I don't think it does. I mean, if you think about Peyton Manning, and my guess is when Kevin O'Connell makes that comment.
Every time we talk about Kirk, you immediately go to Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. I don't think you've said Elway yet.
No,
but
it's just.
Is there any other Mount Rushmore quarterback that you want to compare our
Brock
guy
Purdy?
with?
So you look at Brock Purdy.
There you go.
When he comes to the line, he does say, you can hear him say it too in the headset. Trevor Lawrence, we all heard it last night when he did it. When he came to the line and said, kill, kill, kill. He was killing the play, and I think
it was like 63 or something.
Yeah. So when you think about the kill, 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 that is changing the play.
Derwin James.
That is doing it, but it's what are you killing it to? So are you killing it and there was a second play given, or are you killing it and then you're recalling your own play? My guess is by him saying 30% is what I called is both. It's him giving Kirk Cousins another option. Hey, you can kill it to a run to the left, or you can do this. You can go opposite. You can go whatever.
And so then is the QB making the right decisions when he's doing
correct?
Some of those
and Kevin O'Connell did say this, and you remember this in training camp. He said, because I think it was like the first time, because everybody kept asking that question about, are you going to let Kirk change play? And he said, man, after being in meetings with Kirk, how many weeks it had been, like 2 weeks, he was like, man, this guy is really smart, and I'm excited to see him work this offense, and I'm giving him all the tools to do it. So meaning he's preparing Kirk to change the play. Hey, when you see this front, when you see this coverage, don't run this play. And he's probably telling him that in the headset too, because he's like, hey, Here's the play. Trey Wright, zip motion, 484. Hey, if you see a safety creep down, change it to 585. Boom, done.
That's Ron Johnson. I'm Eric Nordquist. One more segment of Vikings Fan Line around the corner. Just kind of put a bow on this thing. Vikings lose 31-24, and their 2022 season ends as a 13-win team, a division-winning team, and a wild card loser. Final segment with Fan Line, Ron, Nordo, Zach Halverson in the back, taking down a cell phone number. We're back in minutes right here on The Fan.
Hey, it's Chris Hockey, the Power Trip Morning Show with my friend Ian Youngstead. Ian, your family at Youngstead's wants to keep people safe on the roads this winter.
Yeah, hey, Hockey, that's true. Right now, you can get tire rebates of up to $200 on select sets of 4 tires, and as always, when you purchase any set of 4 tires, you'll get a $50 Youngstead's promotional gift card to use at a later visit. This is a savings of up to $250.
Also, keep your car clean this winter with a monthly unlimited car wash membership.
Yeah, you can sign up online or visit one of our car wash and detail centers located in Chanhassen, Excelsior, and Maple Grove.
Youngsteads.com. What's that slogan again?
Our family taking care of your family since 1971.
Football season means tailgating, touchdowns, and cheering for your favorite team. In Minnesota, there are nearly 100 local credit unions with over 300 branches for you to team up with to take your money further. Credit unions stand for community and trust. They keep any profits local and provide members better savings rates. Your teammates own a credit union, and that means you're all working for the same goals. More transparency, more trust will give you more personal financial wins. Visit MinnesotaCreditUnions.org to find your local credit union to take your money further.
At Evans, we know that defense and big stops wins you championships. But when it comes to logistics, moving forward is key. Ben Lieber here from my guys at Evans. If logistics were football, Evans would be an explosive offense, dropping dimes and hitting the gritty. Make Evans your favorite logistics team today. Evans will be your signal caller you can jump on their backs and ride to victory. Get ahead of the competition right now and have a great experience while you're at it. Visit evanstrans.com. Again, evanstrans.com.
Hey, fans of the purple and gold, it's Paul Allen. And if you're sick of trying to tackle your deck maintenance, then rush over to TimberTech. TimberTech looks more like real wood than any other composite brand. And it's tough enough to handle even the harshest Minnesota weather. Want to lock up some protection too? TimberTech offers warranties that give you up to 50 years of coverage. So if you're ready to build the perfect place to kick back at kickoff this season, visit TimberTech.com to get free samples. TimberTech, everything wood should be.
Where will your new Chevy take you this year? Anywhere. It's the perfect time of year to take your next adventure off-road in a powerful Chevy Silverado. Round up the whole gang for some family fun in a Chevy Equinox.
Hey kids, let's go.
Or take your night on the town by storm in a stylish Chevy Blazer. Chase new beginnings, make more memories, and take on the road ahead, wherever it leads you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Well-qualified buyers can get 2.99% APR financing on all 2022 and 2023 Silverado 1500 pickups, or get $1,500 cash allowance on all 2022 Silverado pickups with a 2.7-liter turbo high-output engine. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer. Length of contract limited, must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. APR financing not available with lease and some other offers. Cash allowance not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 1/31/23.
Hey, it's Muss for my friends at Two Men and a Truck. Two Men and a Truck takes the stress out of moving so you can focus on what's important, your new beginning. Whether it's down the street or across the country, Two Men and a Truck will be there for all of your moving and junk removal needs. Moving doesn't need to be hard. Let Two Men and a Truck show you how easy it can be. Get a free quote at twomenandatruck.com. Two Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. That looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Your home for all things purple.
Galvin 10-5! Touchdown!
FM 100.3 KFAN, The Fan.
Welcome back. Vikings lose 31-24 and are out of the playoffs. This is Vikings Fan Line. Apparently, I'm at wit's end because of the end of the Vikings season. We have 2 segments left in Vikings Fan Line in this season, and Ron Johnson's with me. Let's get right to the phone lines here, and eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's go with Ernie in Arlington. What's up, Ernie, and welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, Nordo, Ron.
Hey.
First-time caller, long-time listener. I just want to talk about the spot that we're in as a franchise. We signed a big-time quarterback, and we've just seemed to be stuck in purgatory here for the last few years. It just seems like this happens every time a franchise either signs that quarterback past their rookie contract or goes out and finds their guy. They're stuck in purgatory here, and I think it's going to happen with Lamar Jackson here and the Ravens. I think it's going to happen with Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I just want to get your opinion on teams signing their quarterback past their initial contract or going out and getting their guy, spending a lot of money. And good evening.
Yeah, thank you for calling in. Good evening, Ernie from Arlington. I think there's a couple of things here. We talked about it when the team first acquired Kirk Cousins and just kind of went through some stats. And I think it was going back to like the Niners in '94, the last time a team with a quarterback who was paid more than, let's say, 15% of the team's cap. Otherwise, it was teams on rookie deals, and it was the Russell Wilsons. It was Joe Flacco before he got paid. And the true enigma, the anomaly of all of it was Tom Brady and the dynasty. Peyton Manning getting that Super Bowl earlier in his career, already well compensated. Ben Roethlisberger early on in his career, all of those things. So we know all of that. But all the same, you know, the purgatory aspect of it now is really trying to recapture year to year some of the players. I mean, the conversation is going to go on here with the Eric Hendricks, the Harrison Smiths, the Adam Thielens, all people that are paid more than a fair dollar, and just trying to capture, creating windows, right? And certainly just given the cap situation, the perpetual cap hell that this team has been in for a handful of years, it's going to be probably an ongoing purgatory-like conversation. I like that. How about Kurt from New York? Let's check in with Kurt. Not Kirk, but Kurt in New York. Welcome to Vikings Fan Line. Kurt? Okay. Well, why don't we break on that note then? Okay. Vikings Fan Line. Vikings lose 31-24. Kurt just gave up. There's like a lot of Vikings fans have. This team's out of the playoffs. The season's over. Fire everybody. Trade everybody. That's the state of affairs at this particular moment. And that's what happens when you win 13 games. You build up a lot of expectations, whether those are real or somewhat unachievable. You give up like Kurt in New York did. When we return, final segment of Vikings Fan Line, we'll put a wrap on this thing and head on to the work week. You're listening to The Fan.
Where will your new Chevy take you this year? Anywhere. It's the perfect time of year to take your next adventure off-road in a powerful Chevy Silverado. Round up the whole gang for some family fun in a Chevy Equinox.
Hey kids, let's go.
Or take your night on the town by storm in a stylish Chevy Blazer. Chase new beginnings, make more memories, and take on the road ahead, wherever it leads you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Well-qualified buyers can get 2.99% APR financing on all 2022 and 2023 Silverado 1500 pickups, or get $1,500 cash allowance on all 2022 Silverado pickups with a 2.7-liter turbo high-output engine. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer. Length of contract limited, must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. APR financing not available with lease and some other offers. Cash allowance not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 1/31/23.
Are you or a loved one struggling with drug or alcohol use? Maybe you're not sure if it's addiction or if treatment's needed. If so, you're not alone. According to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, 19.3 million people aged 18 or older had a substance use disorder in the past year. Hazelden Betty Ford offers a free confidential assessment. Inpatient, outpatient, and virtual options are available. It's time to take back your life. Hazelden Betty Ford can help. This message sponsored by Hazelden Betty Ford, the Minnesota Broadcasters Association, and this station.
I started my box factory to help people move things more efficiently. Nancy from Choice Bank makes me more efficient so my business can grow in a steady rhythm. Now I got more time to beatbox at home, make boxes in the plant, beatbox at home. My choice banker got me a business loan. My name is Barry B, and I got a sweet voice. Box maker by day, beatboxer by choice.
Choice Bank. We're committed to your business, your success, and to you. It's what we mean by people first banking. Go to bankwithchoice.com.
At Evans, we know that defense and big stops wins you championships. But when it comes to logistics, moving forward is key. Ben Lieber here for my guys at Evans. If logistics were football, Evans would be an explosive offense, dropping dimes and hitting the gritty. Make Evans your favorite logistics team today. Evans will be your signal caller you can jump on their backs and ride to victory. Get ahead of the competition right now and have a great experience while you're at it. Visit evanstrans.com. Again, evanstrans.com.
Football season means tailgating, touchdowns, and cheering for your favorite team. In Minnesota, there are nearly 100 local credit unions with over 300 branches for you to team up with to take your money further. Credit unions stand for community and trust. They keep any profits local and provide members better savings rates. Your teammates own a credit union, and that means you're all working for the same goals. More transparency, more trust will give you more personal financial wins. Visit MinnesotaCreditUnions.org to find your local credit union to take your money further.
Help your small business thrive and stay connected with the Comcast Business Complete Connectivity Solution. It's the largest, fastest, reliable network, advanced gig speed Wi-Fi, and cyber threat protection. Get started for just $49.99 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 2/21/2023. Restrictions apply. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. New 50 megabits per second internet and security edge customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply. Gig internet required for gig Wi-Fi.
Have you seen Honda lately? There's been big changes to their award-winning all-star SUV lineup. Honda SUVs are bigger, bolder, and more beautiful than ever, including the next-generation HR-V, the all-new Honda CR-V, and the totally redesigned Honda Pilot, the biggest, most powerful Honda SUV ever. So for the freshest SUVs on the road, see your Greater Twin Cities Honda dealer today. Based on the sales-weighted average age of SUV lineups as measured by the time since last major model change or introduction.
The Power Trip Morning Show.
I love them. I don't have to always agree with them, but I love them.
Tomorrow morning beginning at 5:30 on The Fan.
Final segment as tragedy has struck the Baltimore Ravens, it appears. Potentially a fumble at the goal line leading to a 99-yard touchdown return by the Cincinnati Bengals. That continues on. As does this Vikings Fan Line final segment. We're going to put a bow on this season here momentarily. Final call of Fan Line 2022. I mean, the prestigious award goes to DR in Minneapolis. Welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, man, how you doing today? I just want to talk about how everyone is, like, blaming Kirk. Like, he had a good game. Yeah, he messed up 4th and 8, through that pass, but how about the defense? Like, they didn't do nothing to stop anything. This is a Giants team that's not a good offense. Yeah, they have some weapons, but they should not be doing that to us on every drive. So I think Ed Donatel, he got to go for sure. And I just think, like, did we expect more from this team? Like, 41-3 to the Cowboys at home. Had to pull off a miracle comeback against the Indianapolis Colts just to win that game. Lost to the Lions pretty convincingly. And 11 close games, yeah. A lot of those games could have went against us as well. So I think this team had a reality check, and we need a lot of improvements next year, man.
I appreciate it, DR. Take care. And that's probably the right way to end this thing as I look at a text as well. Defense unable to get off the field all season. How much better could our offense been with more possessions?
Yep.
Working on 3rd and shorts, those sorts of things. Those have been the familiar thematic topics here during Vikings Fan Line and really Fan Line throughout the season. Ron, any final thoughts as we just kind of close the book on this thing? Defense gets better. We're looking on Twitter. Everyone wants to fire the defensive coordinator. I mean, we've kind of covered the A topics to the L, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, one, I'd say, it's been a blessing working with you guys. Loved the season. Had a fun time with you. Definitely, I can tell the difference between you and Corey Cove. But it was fun.
I want the team to win, and I watched the game.
But it was definitely fun. And as far as the team goes, man, this is what I say. I am a big after dealing with my dad's, death and talking to former players, Frenchie Fuqua, Franco Harris, and all those guys, and Mel Blount, Donnie Shell, and actually having conversations about mental health, being away from the game, and mental health on the field. Kirk Cousins, I was excited to see Kirk Cousins this season. And Kevin O'Connell brought a different side of Kirk Cousins to the football field and off the field. A guy willing to take his shirt off, put the chains on. People can say whatever you want about that, but the fact that he was willing to open up and be himself, corny or not, around his teammates, that's huge. You can make all the fun you want. The dude's a millionaire. So while you're sitting at home on your couch, this dude's out here making $100+ million, taking his shirt off, and you want to hate on him. Who cares? Like, at the end of the day, does he care about you being mad that he took his shirt off? No. His wife loves it. So who cares? Why are you so mad? So I'm happy that Kirk Cousins.
As long as he folded that brand new shirt he got at Kohl's and didn't get it soiled at all.
He put it right over the chair of Za'Darius as Za'Darius donned the chains on him. But him ordering a grill because Justin Jefferson's wearing a grill. All that little stuff, man, is that's what builds a team off the field. That when they're on the field, they love each other, they trust each other, they want to play for each other. This was a team that the offense never looked at the defense like, man, I can't imagine if the offense was that bad and we had a top 4 defense. What would have happened? How the defense would have said, man, if only our offense was a semblance of a good team.
Yeah.
How could we didn't have that. They had each other's backs to the very end, and I think that's just going to build onto it. Now the culture is built. The changes are going to be made. New guys will come into the culture. As we go through this, you'll see new players come in. You'll see players that you love leave, and that's just the nature of a business. We saw a guy, Devontae Adams, go to the Raiders. We never thought that happened. So there's going to be some of your favorite Vikings going to another team, but Kevin O'Connell's building something special, and I'm excited to see what's coming up next.
Yeah, the mentality and the culture, I think you hit on it, man. It was fun doing Fan Line with you. I just look at it as, those are the positive things you mentioned. This is a team that ran out of pixie dust, man.
Right.
And so as you created those victories and you were winning while you were learning, there were expectations that were set. I expected the Vikings to win today, and those thoughts were slightly ill-fated. But
PJ Feck said failure is growth.
But I think
they're going to grow from this.
Brilliant words, PJ. And I think we're going to look back at this 13-win season as one of the most memorable in Vikings history, albeit another year sans a Lombardi. Thanks to Ron Johnson. Thanks not only to Brandon Molesky, but Max Fuller for all his production work during Fan Line this year, Zach Halverson on the stream, and thanks to all of you for listening. Tomorrow morning, starting at 5:30, more recap and reaction to the Vikings season with the Power Trip Morning Show. And at 9, it'll be sad montage, more calls and texts and such.
It was still a movie.
PA with me.
It was a movie.
It was, yes. It was a movie that ended sadly. I want a happy ending. That's going to be on the button bar. Damn it. Look, I love all of you. I love the Vikings. It sucks when they lose. We're your home for Vikings football, the fan.
You'll get a happy ending one day.
We are rubes like you.
One day you'll get your happy ending.
Love you all. Thanks for listening to The Fan. Good night.